Well, time sure flies when you're having a completely anxiety-ridden, not that much fun at all. Everybody's wanted more than what they've gotten so far. Kind of a football season, right? Time has not flown, but here we are kicking off another week, and it's simply the biggest week of football that the 49ers have left. And should they win, exact same thing than the following week. Should they win, the games keep getting bigger, and the minute that they lose, the games are really not going to matter much more at all. We will be talking NFL draft after the next 49ers loss. We'll be talking about a possibility to still see a playoff game this year for the San Francisco 49ers if they keep on winning. Welcome to Thursday Night Football, our watch party here on the Plus. My name's Damon. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on by. It is as big of a football game as you're going to find in anybody's regular season. Both of these teams are desperate. Both of these teams very familiar with each other, and we got ourselves a great coaching matchup, a very good quarterbacking matchup. Stafford and Purdy both played great football, and there is some good news on the injury front for the 49ers. Isaac Guerendo going tonight. Dre Greenlaw returning tonight, and Nick Bosa available tonight. So an awful lot of the news you wanted to hear pregame before this Thursday nighter kicks off in rainy conditions down at Levi Stadium. You've gotten some good news so far, but again, rainy conditions. We know that Brock Purdy has had trouble with the football in less than, shall we say, good weather conditions. And it's going to be a slick football down in Santa Clara tonight. We are thrilled to have you here. Hit like and subscribe if you would, please. Thanks so much for coming on in. We got ourselves a very, very big game to go through together tonight. And I'll tell you, the cat's kind of already out of the bag thanks to a tweet earlier in the second quarter. Our surprise guest this evening is going to be John Lund, longtime San Francisco KNBR and 95.7 The Game radio host. And like all great hosts in this city these days, he's laid off. So we are going to have John Lund, who is now venturing into YouTube like never before. And we're going to look forward to catching up with him, watching the second quarter and dip into halftime with him tonight. And like I've been telling you all season long, let's say just for a minute, you're hungry right now and you don't have any dinner plans. Well, that means my good friend Ike needs to hear from you right now. If you sign up for that rewards program, and if you're in a delivery distance, if you order your Ike's right now, chances are you're going to have it by halftime of this game. If you do not live around in Ike's, I feel terrible for you. I feel awful for you. And hopefully that changes really soon. This is the best sandwich in America, starting on the West Coast in San Francisco and expanding now up and down the West Coast, eastward, new locations in New Orleans, which means he's got himself a contest right now. If you sign up for that Ike Love Rewards program, you can win an opportunity to go to New Orleans to a very large football game that'll be played there in February in the Superdome. That is thanks to our good friend Ike's. I don't know if we are on tonight at the Dubliner, but I'm sure the game certainly is. We always love the Dubliner West Portal here in San Francisco, one of the best neighborhood bars, Irish bars, sports bars you're ever going to walk into in your life. Get yourself to the Dubliner West Portal as soon as you can. And I'm just going to tell you right now, we put $100 on this one earlier today on the 11 a.m. show here on Damon Bruce Plus. We went on BetUS. We laid 110. We're looking to win tonight. And we are telling you right now that if you sign up at BetUS with promo code YouTube150, you get 150% sign up deposit up to your first deposit up to $2,000. We are going to be kicking off from Santa Clara here in a second. Thank you to my sponsors. Thank you to all of you. The way you really help this show tonight, the way you really help this baby sing is if you're watching, you're hitting that thumbs up button right there in front of you. All you got to do is hit that like button, and this live stream is going to start being glommed onto by the algorithm. We've also got a little super chat thing going on. 50 super chats tonight's going to get us a bottle pull, me a bottle pull anyways. And we got merch available. We got memberships available. We have subscriptions totally free available to you. All you got to do is hit subscribe, hit notify. It's great to have you here. We've been doing watch parties for about a month and a half now, and we've been having some fun. The 49ers haven't been winning very much, though, And now, welcome to You Got No Choice But to Win Football Games portion of your football season. 49er fans, it is great to have you here. Here we go. Kenny Powers says, if you don't have Amazon or live in the Bay Area, you can't watch it, America. Well, of course, come on, you have Amazon, right? People do not have hard access to these streaming games anymore. YouTube TV price just went up. So, by the way, if you can't be as generous in the chat, remember, they're making billions. We're just trying to make a couple $100 here tonight. We are underway from Santa Clara. Kickoff. The Niners are going to have the ball first. And let's go. Let's go. By the way, a couple of supers already in. Please, for the love of God, win. MKG. Indeed. Please, for the love of God. We got Mary Chicago Faithful just coming in with $2 right off the rip. And I thought, I got nothing left to do but say thank you very much. And I don't know why it didn't happen here earlier. Let me see. Do I find it? There it is. Julio. You are there. Julio just coming in, tucking $2 into the ganja jar before the 49ers have even run a play yet. At times, I will try to count down so you can sync up somehow, some way. This watch party with the game. It's streaming. It's the internet. It might be hard to sync up. It might be easy. I don't know. But the ball is snapped right now to Brock Purdy, and we are underway. Little RPO to Debo, and it was right in Debo's hands. And Debo, who owes the 49ers a huge game, drops his first target of the evening. I don't want to hear that they're not getting Debo the ball. They just designed the very first play of the game to go to Debo, and Debo dropped the ball. It's been an interesting week for Debo, to say the least. He owes this team a good game tonight. 2nd and 10 here. Conditions, again, down at Levi's are looking pretty good. Isaac Guerrero taking it around the left-hand side. He did not take it for much, picked up about a yard. And so it is 3rd and very long for the 49ers here on their opening drive of Thursday Night Football against the Rams. Again, they got to have it. Got to have it tonight. There's just no room for any more losses in this equation to try to sneak in the back door of this postseason. And by the way, sneaking in the back door of the postseason is probably going to require the 49ers to win the NFC West. So they are not controlling their own destiny. They need help along the way, but got to start by helping yourself out tonight with a win over the Rams, who, again, are trying to win this division too and are very desperate. An overthrow of George Kittle down the left-hand side for Brock Purdy, 14-10 now on the clock, but we got a flag on the play. What do we got? It's against San Francisco. The penalty obviously declined. We got 4th down. And so I was hoping for a convincing opening drive out of the 49ers. We know that when things are going well for them, they look fantastic right out of the gate. And this is a 3 and out for the 49ers. Again, they got off of schedule when Debo dropped his very first target, which was right in his hands, right in stride. And Debo dropped his first opportunity of the night after basically telling everybody, it ain't me, it's all you, why my stats are down. All right, Debo. We'll find out, won't we? There's a lot of receipts so far this year that say, nah, not really. But if you're insisting, well, let's see. Let's see if you're right before the end of this night, okay? So, again, it is great to have you here. We got an awful lot of regulars already in the room. Joe Sullivan, great to see you. Thank you very much for Jacob for stopping on in. We got Loner Incognito coming on in. Good to see you. Let's ride. 510 Steve. Of course, Chef A. Great to have you all in here tonight. Kyron Williams running forward for the very first time this evening. He is already 1,000-yard back in this league. And without an awful lot of success running the football against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, the Rams still ran it 42 times. So a very committed to the rushing attack, Sean McVay, is what the Rams offense produced last week. We'll see what this week looks like as they pick it up here on 2nd and 4. We're at 13:30 and the ball is snapped. Another handoff to Kyron Williams. Again, I think we see a late flag come in here to the play, a very late flag. Don't know where that's coming from. Leonard Floyd was in on that tackle. Clay Martin. So one of the things that I learned when this game, before it even kicked off, is that tonight's crew actually throws the most flags in the NFL for offensive holding. I thought, well, this is probably good news for the 49ers, who are playing Nick Bosa tonight, who probably is held without penalty more than any other player in this league. Well, a holding working for the 49ers here as the Rams put themselves back. Now it's 2nd and 14. By the way, 13-12, 13-11, 13-10 on the clock, 13-9, 13-8, 13-7, ball snapped, and I hope you're able to sync up. There you go. Well, Diamador Lenore with a nice pass breakup on 2nd and long, bringing up 3rd and 14, and to say getting off the field with your own 3 and out after you open the game with a 3 and out would be, well, the best possible way to start this for the 49ers defense after a uninspiring opening drive. But there you go. For the first time this year, the 49ers are going to have their 4 best players on the field. I count Dre Greenlaw among them. Nick Bosa's out there. Fred Warner's out there. And we know Diamador Lenore, I think, is now one of the 4 best defenders on this team. So this should be a good night for the defense. And, whoa, Lenore got his hands on a pass intended for Kupp. He did not come down with the interception, but a pass breakup on consecutive plays for Diamador Lenore. And that is how you get off the field quick if you're the San Francisco 49ers. So off to a good start. There you go. Good start. Off to a good start as far as people coming on in early. We're known for usually picking up broadcasts at the 2-minute warning. People have been glomming onto this whole watch party. We do it through the entire game. So thank you very much. If you're new here, hit like and subscribe if you would. Let's go. I already see right now. We need to get those likes up to make this video actually sing throughout YouTube. That's what's going to push it. You pushing that like button, which costs you very minimal effort and certainly not a penny. It is great to have you here. Thanks again for coming on by. I hope you're ready for a big holiday. My wife, Jillian, she's out right now picking up the boys. At some point, there could be a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old crashing this party. Our friend John Lund is going to be crashing this party at the beginning of the second quarter. And thank you for coming here and crashing the party tonight. It is great to have you. And it's obviously been an incredibly frustrating season for the 49ers, who really have been better. And this is sometimes where maybe stats lie a little, or, the 49ers have just been such a catastrophic special teams disappointment. And those numbers usually aren't reflected in some of the stats like this. But to just try to explain away some of this weird season for the San Francisco 49ers, there's a few things that I wanted to show you that I stumbled across in just preparing for the show today. And here's one of the first things I want to show to you this evening. This is from the 33rd team. Really good Twitter follow, by the way. The 49ers, let me zoom in on this. The 49ers are the only team since 2000, we're now talking 23 years, with a positive yards per play differential and have a losing record. In other words, the Niners are officially the most efficient offense in the history of losing teams, right? I mean, they're second overall in the NFL right now, the 49ers are, in yard differential. And they're the only team in 23 seasons to have a losing record this deep into a season with a positive yard differential, again, to the tune of 1.27. They're better than they have been this year. They move the football, and they pretty much have all year. What they don't do is move the football from the red zone into the end zone. And that's why this season's been incredibly frustrating. And the fact that this defense hasn't been getting off the field like it used to on third down, you couple red zone struggles, which, let's face it, red zone struggles is just a fancy way of saying third down struggles. But red zone struggles and the inability to get off the field on third down defensively have crippled what has actually been a Pretty good year from the 49ers, all things considered. A wide open George Kittle is already going right down the middle. He's over the logo and over midfield, and that is a very good way for Brock Purdy to start this drive. I mean, establishing a running game is something that Kyle needs to do, but he's come out here throwing on first down now on consecutive series. So there you go. That's how you pick up stats that are weird as this, saying, the 49ers are the only team with this good of an EPA, this losing record. Isn't that nuts? It really is. Again, they sometimes hit for chunk plays. Then they stop hitting for those chunk plays in the end zone. Isaac Guerendo runs into the back of a pulling player. Who was that he ran into the back of? Was that Debo? Did he run into the back of frickin' Debo because Debo's not fast enough to get through his own motion anymore? Is that what just happened? Did Isaac Guerendo just run into Debo Samuel because Debo mistimed the play? I mean, maybe it's on Guerendo. I don't know. But you normally don't see that happen very often in the 49ers backfield. They motion more than anybody. So usually that is a clean thing to happen. 2nd and 9. Another handoff to Guerendo, who runs behind Dominic Pooney. Guerendo picking up a few. Here, let's go ahead and bring to you, share this tab. Boom. There we go. We're going to see what the 49ers are doing here on this drive. Again, Guerendo off right tackle for 3 yards just to help you sync up. It's 10:49, 48, 47 on my TV. Ball is snapped. Debo is handed the ball off in the backfield with very little happening on 3rd down. That is a throwaway play from Kyle Shanahan. Debo has not done anything running the ball this year that you should be returning to, that you should be seeking things out of at this point. So Debo has already begun this game with a run that didn't go anywhere, a motion that interrupted the timing of Isaac Guerendo, and he dropped the very first target of the entire game. So now here comes Jake Moody for a 53-yard field goal on a rainy, slick night at Levi Stadium, and Moody will slide that in, thank goodness, because the last thing you need to see is that guy missing his first field goal of the evening. It does not exactly inspire confidence if that happens, but the Niners are up 3-0 and have managed 3 points out of about 6-7 plays that they've run so far. So underway, but we all know field goals has not been a friend of the 49ers this year. Special teams has not been a friend of the 49ers 4 years now. Oh, so no separation for Debo, Tom G. Yeah, did you notice that too, Tom? Can't help but notice that myself. As always, we break for super chats, and here comes a big one right off the rip. 650, hands down the best Bay Area sports broadcast and YouTube channel. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it, Mom. Thank you. No, 650. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I doubt I have to tell you to hit like or subscribe. You've been incredibly supportive since coming on over and doing these in-game watch parties. And thanks very, very much. It means an awful lot. You're helping to support the family very, very much. And really, really thank you. It's growing. Hey, here we are. We're over 26,000 subscribers. Where I look at where I was just a year ago at this time, it's really good growth in, possibly by the end of this calendar year, this channel will have amassed 10 million lifetime views. We've just gone over 1 million views in the month of November for the very first time in the history of this channel. So you have all been incredibly supportive, and I thank you so much. And, our friend who's going to be joining us in the second quarter, John Lund, is now starting a YouTube venture. And if you've always liked John Lund's work, I really encourage you to subscribe to him as well as he tries to pick up that radio career and plop it over here. There's success to be had for sure. It just takes a little while. It certainly takes a little while for it to build up, but there's no doubt that John is a hard-working, talented guy, and we're looking forward to catching up with him. And he can, after tonight, he can officially say that he is a laid-off member of the Bay Area media because really this channel has been the exit interview for all Bay Area media layoffs pretty much. So once we have John Lund come and go, I guess we'll have to get in Tolbert at some point in time, but that would be it. We'd be pretty caught up at that point. Anyway, underway. The 49ers are underway. Not exactly inspiring to begin the evening, but underway is what the 49ers officially are right now. And let me see. We are about 21 minutes in here on the Watch Party live stream, which means I want to one more time tell you that it's about the end of time for you to get an Ike's delivered to you by halftime. So get yourself to Ike's if you can, please. Ike's has got a delicious sandwich waiting for you. Sign up on that Love Rewards program. Our friends at the Dubliner, always open for your business. Great bar in West Portal in San Francisco. Next time, go with your group of friends to the Dubliner to watch a Niner game, a Warrior game. Just hang out. It's great. You're waiting for a table at Elena's across the street. Go to the Dubliner West Portal. And our good friends at BetUS. Let me tell you, thank you so much to our good friends at BetUS. I got 100 bones on BetUS riding on this one tonight. I took the Niners. I laid the 3. So I'm covering. As of right now, covering. So is Diamador Lenore covering, Puka Nacua as best as he can. And it was a catch, but, you could not have been more right there if you were Diamador Lenore. He was right up in Nakua's business, who did a great job catching that ball off the back of his helmet, for goodness sakes. Again, use promo code YouTube150 when you go to BetUS, my good friends. Thank you for being here. 49ers looking to get off the field. No, it's second and third, pardon me. Getting a little ahead of myself, but a tackle right there is going to turn it into a get off the field down. Hello, Dre Greenlaw. We see Dre Greenlaw back in the mix. He, Malik Collins, and Talanoa Hufanga were all in there as Corum was taken down. Lost a couple yards. It's now 3rd and 4 on a Thursday night. Let's go, let's go. By the way, we have almost 200 people in the room right now. And we only have about 100 likes, which means 100 of you are kind of slacking. If you did, boop, thumbs up, really easy. 3rd and 4, Stafford dropping back, looks across the middle. Oh my God, Hufanga had a right in his hands. One of his hands is wrapped up like a club. That hit him in the chest, right in the numbers. Hufanga just dropped an interception. Stafford threw it right to him. I guess you got to cut a guy slack when he's got a chicken drumstick tape-up job on his right hand. By the way, I'm doing pulled pork on Saturday for some family that's coming over, and I took a nice little hunk out of the tip of my finger as I was trimming some of that. It was just a little too fatty, that pork shoulder. I'm going to salting it, obviously, for 48 hours before we start cooking. So trimmed a little of the excess fat off the Boston butt, salted it up while I was doing it. I'm not trying to flip anybody off here, but I did. I took a good little pothole right out of my knuckle, and that's right on the frickin' knuckle. You know how hard this is going to be to heal? Because it's right here. Like, it's right where you're bending your finger at all times. So good luck to me. Good luck to all of us with all the trimming that needs to be done these holiday seasons that are in front of us. It's a very dangerous time of the year in the kitchen. All right, hopefully it's a dangerous time of the year for the Los Angeles Rams. 8:21 on the clock here in the first quarter. Brock looking to snap Niners' 3rd drive of the game, and he begins with a handoff to Debo that goes absolutely nowhere. Kyle, you have to stop trying to make fetch happen when it comes to Debo Samuel carrying the ball. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. Tyler, trying to get everybody involved here. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you very much. Come on, man. Just not happening when it comes to Debo running the football. Again, or hey, Luis Sotelo. Why, Debo? Why? Thank you for the super. I do not know why. Well, look at it this way. Debo said, give me the damn ball. And Kyle is like kind of rubbing it in his face. He comes back out and Debo actually makes a play. He catches the ball and it's going to set up a third and shorter. Now that Debo has his first reception of this game. Can we get the boyo for Debo Tubby? This is I got a Debo t-shirt on. Like I'm trying to be supportive. Motherfuckers making it hard to be supportive. 3rd and 4. Be great if he could help support, pick up this 3rd down. Thrown to Kittle. Kittle looked like he had just a player all over his back right there. Curl either timed that perfectly or that should have been pass interference. But incomplete pass. 49ers are going to be punting right here. iPhone 7. iPhone 7. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for the super. Goes right in the ganja jar. Angelo sometimes has to laugh. I get it, man. I took my eyes off it. Was that pass interference? It kind of looked like he jumped over his back there. I'm always afraid to just do a quick rewind, pardon me, when it comes to any Amazon game. Like, I'm afraid the whole app's going to shut down at any point in time. By the way, nice punt, nice special teams play. Don't have many opportunities to say that this year, so I might as well say it out loud while you can. Nice kind of a short punt that bounces down to the 19-yard line. All right. There you go. B-Star003 says, you play man and you will always beat the Niners. Well, look, the Rams will throw a lot of zone at you. But they've been playing some man here tonight, and that's the right way to do it. Again, Kyle can scheme up crushing zone coverage. He can take his slow wide receivers and his now we're deep in the depth chart running backs and still do well against zone coverage. But man has been a problem all year long, and that means the Niners have been slowing down as an offense. There's no doubt about it. But as I said, we were going to sort of turn to a few things that I've seen to just let you know that this is a really, really weird year. A really, really weird year for the 49ers, because as unelectric as this 49er receiver core has been, and as much as everyone wanted to say, a 49er receiver core picking up yards after the catch is the only thing to explain Brock Purdy's passing success. Last year, Brock Purdy led the NFL in yards per attempt, and people tried to label as dink and dunk, and all those yards per attempt are the result of the wide receiver, George Kittle, McCaffrey, running with the ball after they catch it in very short space. Remember that? Remember how that was a huge criticism? Well, this year, for most of the year, the 49ers yards after catch were dead last early on in this football season. Several weeks into the year, what they used to be first at in the NFL, they were last at in the NFL. And in the last couple of weeks, it has gotten a little bit better. And the 49ers have now risen to, I believe, 22nd in the NFL. Still no great shakes. Still no oh, that's why your quarterback is good. Because you're 22nd in the NFL in yards after catch. No one would say that out loud. But everyone last year said it's only because of yards after catch that Brock Purdy's any good. Well, look at this. Look at this, if you don't mind. I want to share this with you right here. Brock Purdy leads the NFL in yards per attempt this season at 8.7. Now, it's fewer than he led the NFL with last year at 9.6. But look at how bad the 49ers offense has been around him. Look at how much we all don't even debate anymore. We agreed these wide receivers are less than the fastest group in the NFL. And look at what Brock Purdy's still doing. This guy's a pretty damn good quarterback. Now, I'm risking saying that out loud on a night where it's raining down in Santa Clara, and Brock has had trouble with slippery balls and in the rain. Let's see what he does, though, tonight. Again, it's been a really, really weird year around the San Francisco 49ers. So much of what they've done statistically should spell, maybe not overwhelming success, but at least a winning record at this point in the year. And here the 49ers are just trying to get back to 500 and live to fight another day in this football season. And the only way they do that is with a win tonight. They're trying to get off the field on third down. There's an awful lot of love for Dre Greenlaw out here. It's really good to see Dre Greenlaw back. Imagine how frustrating, his return has been. We've been through a lot of Achilles injuries out here in the Bay Area between Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant of the Warriors, Dre Greenlaw in the Super Bowl. It's just been tough Achilles sledding out in the Bay Area. So I really hope that Dre Greenlaw can return to form. I don't know how much he can change the arc of the 49ers defense and season just coming on back, but it looks like they're getting off the field here on third down. That is an incomplete pass. Stafford threw it wide of the target and out of bounds. There was a little bit of pressure there, enough to get Stafford off of his spot. He had to retreat a little. So this is, again, a pretty good start defensively for the 49ers. If this offense can get its shit together, might find yourself winning a football game here tonight, lucking into a football win here tonight, right? Again, thank you very, very much. I meant the oi, oi, oi sound effect. I'm sorry, iPhone. Oi, oi, oi! There you go. I did boy, oi, oi, oi. I didn't know really what you were talking about there. I just tried to talk through it. But iPhone 7, there you go. Oi, oi, oi! And look, it's such a big game, I'll even give you one of these too. You are at Maximum Football tonight. Brett, thank you very much for the Devil's Lettuce Ganja Jar. Thank you, Brett. That'll go right in there. Juan C., Amazon commentary on mute, loving the watch party. Well, thank you. All they have is Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit and a collection of current or future NFL Hall of Famers. It's just little old me here down in the basement. So thank you very, very much. I do appreciate that. I do think you've made the right choice. I certainly know that the good folks in this chat room are some of the coolest people that you're going to find anywhere on YouTube. I'm very proud of this chat. I'm very proud of the group of people that keep on returning to the channel and coming back. And it's a, dare I say, an adult conversation when adult conversations in sports are harder and harder to find. We get 3 and outs for the D to start the game. Let's go offense. Yeah. Georgie, let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's get this offense cranked up a little bit. I mean, we know there's a lot of talent not on the field, but there's still enough out there. Brock Purdy, little dump off to Garendo on 1st and 10. It's going to bring up 2nd down. By the way, just letting you know where we are on the clock here. 4:30, 4:29, 4:28, 4:27, 4:26. Trying to sync you up. Thank you again for the super. Really appreciate it. Amazon commentary on mute. Love the watch party. Again, thank you. Joe, our community rocks. It is. It's your community, man. I'm just happy to be the ringleader. And it is. It's an awesome community. I've seen people pick people up during lonely times, during sad times. I've seen the celebrations. I see the happy birthdays. It really is a cool thing to have come over here and put on YouTube. So thanks for being a part of it. Again, you can really be a part of it by hitting subscribe. You really want to go bonkers, become a member? Well, hey, I'm not going to get that greedy. We do have mugs available, though. Do you drink coffee every morning? Drink a coffee out of a D. Bruce Plus mug. It's a legit mug. Again, just hit like and subscribe. That's all we're asking. Like and subscribe. Another 1st down for the 49ers. Watching Garendo get involved in this running game, that is good for business. Want to see Garendo in this running game not be abandoned tonight, especially on a night where it's raining. And we know that Brock Purdy has had some, let's just say adventures in the rain in the past. Don't want to have too many adventures in the rain, if you don't mind me saying. So let's see what we're looking at here, how this drive is looking. 2nd and 6 now. Right at midfield for the 49ers. They're on their logo at the 50, moving left to right on your radio dial. Seriously, at what point is the NFL going to send me a cease and desist for doing play-by-play? I guess we'll find out. Or maybe this is where I lean into the hey, YouTube partnership. Either way, it's going to be 3rd and 6 here. Weatherspoon made a nice play on Juwan Jennings. He's in that 5 yards of contact area. So, yeah, you can get physical up there. You're going to want to play bump and run against the 49ers. You're going to want to play man and bump and run. You're going to want to make things uncomfortable. Right on that, 7 yards sort of you're past it window is when you got to start laying off, but you're going to push it against the Niners. Dare him to call everything. Brock's in trouble. And he's going to go down on 3rd down. The first sack for either team tonight. Brock just didn't look good there. That pocket collapsed around him, and Brock tried to spin out of it. He didn't hit the B button the entire way, and his player never really spun. He left his feet. Brock left his feet in the pocket there. He jumped up. He left his feet, and when he came down, he was just in trouble. Not exactly the most impressive drive the 49ers have run this season. Ooh, thought that might be a little threat of a blocked punt there by the Rams. Feel free to give a halo. No special teams mistakes. No special teams mistakes. No turnovers. That is a formula that the 49ers have to have working for them tonight. Joe Sullivan saying these coaches right now are in a stalemate. Absolutely, Joe. They are just a couple of fighters here. No real haymakers except that one big play to Kittle have been landed. Just jabs. They're just jabbing in the middle of the ring, kind of circling each other. Pooney. No, did I miss something? Pooney. You're not telling me I missed Pooney walk out of this game, did you? Or no, it was Pooney giving up that sack right there. I think that's what you meant. Again, don't say anything like, oh no, about a player. You scare the hell out of me. Again, I'm trying to host a show, read my comments, produce a show, and watch a game all at the same time. I really should have more people in here helping, but here we are. It's a one-man band. All right. So Brock is off to a 4-for-8 start. He's been sacked, first sack of the game. But Stafford, it's not like he's began this night on one. Stafford's been off rhythm too. He's just 2 for 6 for 11 yards so far. So, yeah, just trading jabs. Got 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter when we pick it all up. 10 Devils 33 says, we once again look lethargic, boring. Little bit. Not exactly the most robust, well-coordinated start to a football game we've seen from Kyle. That's for sure. Again, the spamming stuff, don't worry about it. We'll try to quash it as often as we can, but it just means, it's working. They're coming for us. There must be something to come for. So this is what happens. We love what you are doing for the company. Well, thank you. Jonas, Yomir, Johansson. We're getting traction in Iceland. Jürgen Flurgen, my good friend. Jürgen Flurgen. I've met this guy. He's been out to the Bay Area. We've had beers together. Jonas, great to see you, man. Happy holidays coming up. There you go. 49ers handing out a $10,000, very cheap-looking novelty-sized check. You'd think that 49er check would have something that is, really 49er-ish embossed on it. Like a Niner fan has a Niner-centric Visa card. That was a very white, looked like you didn't spend any money on a nice novelty check that was given for, I'm sure, a good cause that doesn't give a shit about what kind of check it got. Just happy to have a good cause. Dr. Harry Edwards wins an award from the 49ers annually. Happens every year. Dre Greenlaw out there. By the way, good side-to-side movement. Just looking at him real quick, just taking a little look. How's Dre Greenlaw moving? He's closing space. He looks like he's got speed. He looks like he's got a lot of hop in his step out there. Really good to see from Dre Greenlaw. Really good to see. You'd think the check would be Mo Bigga. Yeah, Barry, for a novelty check, it feels like it could have used another Another good foot and a half on the end of that novelty check. It was more like a novelty index card than it was an actual proper banknote, you know? Damon, it's pouring. It is raining out there. Indeed it is. I like football in the elements. No excuses. Stafford just has another one. Just bounced right off a player's hand. Had that stayed a little bit more in bounds, that would have been hot cooking. Blake Corum with a big bounce right off of his mitts to set up a 3rd and 7. Bazzi Mian, another missed interception. That was right in that window of trouble. Woo, right off his hands. If Diamador Lenore, had he not been crashing so hard to make a tackle, he might have come down with an interception there. Big 3rd and 7. Fred Warner's being highlighted. Is he flashing blitz, showing blitz, faking blitz? What are you doing, Fred? Fred's coming. They're bringing it up the middle on Stafford, who has another ball slip away. And Allen Robinson? Is that Tutu Atwell? Pardon me. There you go. 4th and 7. I guess the good news on a night where the 49ers offense hasn't come out electric, there is nothing electric going on right now about the Rams offense either. So a very wet sock pillow fight is what we've watched here in this incredibly long first quarter. We got a special teams return opportunity here for Jacob Cowing, who's going to get it down the field about 15 yards up to the 30. All right. You know, he actually had to be tackled. He didn't just slip and fall on his own. So progress for Jacob Cowing in the return game. This is where I think they should be asking more from Debo. Like, Debo, you're saying that you're not getting the ball enough? Well, let's change that by making you this team's kick returner, punt returner as well. It's not like he's out there crushing the job duties of a number 1 wide receiver. I think Debo needs to pick up a head of steam to be an effective player. And it's not a head of steam that is obviously being generated, you know, by the 7 yards that he's lining up when he's getting the ball out of the backfield. So I think Debo should be used on special teams. So it looks like a sheet of rain is falling down right now at Levi's Stadium. We got coaches in sweatshirts who are very wet across the shoulders. No fumbles, no interceptions. Be careful with this football. Look underneath. Hold on tight, everyone. Complete pass to Isaac Guerrero. Does not go far. Not a lot happened there. We needed Mason for today. Yeah, a little bit of a power-moving sledgehammer. Yeah, Mason would have been a big, big help in this game. No doubt. All right. How about Jose saying, due to the weather, kind of got a little candlestick vibe going on. Oh, I wish. Dude, the vibes of Candlestick, man. The place was a dump. The vibes were immaculate when that place was rocking and sold out and feeling frisky. I also went to dumpy games of Candlestick. I went to some bad Mike Nolan era. You know, there's 15, 20,000 empty seats in here. Bad games of Candlestick for sure. But when it was on, Candlestick was fun, man. It really, really was. So we're going to be left with a 3rd and 4 here as the first quarter comes to an end. It is just fantastic to have you here today. Thank you so much for stopping on by this 49ers watch party. And as I've been saying, I got to remember to get the damn banner back up. We are powered by BetUS. Our good friends at BetUS right now are inviting you, like I did earlier today, to go ahead, use BetUS to make your gambling choices and use promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. As we told you, had you already ordered from Ike's, it would probably be like on the way to you right now. Had you done that when the game kicked off, you make that Ike's order right now. If he's close enough to you, maybe it gets there by end of third quarter. Get yourself an Ike sandwich. Have you had a Damon Bruce? Look at me. I don't know if the 49ers are going to have any rings this year. I got 3 of them right there for you. Look at those onion rings. I'm a meal, baby. I can be dinner. Look at that calorie count. Like this show, I said you're going to like it. I never said it was going to be good for you. So there you go. Steak, baby. Yeah. And then wash it all down at the Dubliner in West Portal, our good friends running one of the great bars in San Francisco, Irish bar, neighborhood bar, sports bar, everything that you could ever want or hope to get when you go to your favorite place. And again, when you go to your favorite place, one thing you always need to bring is your wallet, and you might need to pack a caboose pistol as well. My friends, John Lund has been a staple on Bay Area radio for well over a decade. We met when my show followed his on 95.7 The Game. He crossed the street to KNBR, which the evolving radio industry evolved. It's devolving, if you don't mind me saying. And that means John Lund is evolving right here on YouTube. Yes. It's official, Lund. You have now officially been laid off by KNBR. This is the official exit interview. So congratulations. We can finally put that chapter behind you.
Yeah, and I love the term, right? When everybody goes, "Oh, you've been laid off." I've been fired. I've been fired. What I've been, and it's cool, man. I mean, you know, and you're already doing it. I feel liberated. I'm doing a show like you're doing a show, and it's a lot of fun. And I think you go back to your roots and why you did it and why you started, and you start to get angry and bitter and all that kind of stuff, and you get into your routine, and then you do this, and it's like, oh, what do you mean? It's 12 after. Don't I have to break? It's 22. Doesn't KNBR have to run 42 minutes of commercials? I mean, it's just, I'm having a great time with it. It's a lot of fun. It's cool. You get to connect with people again. It's kind of like starting over. So, I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm having a good time.
I think that you qualify for laid off more than fired. Fired implies that you've done something wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Where, my friend, what was done wrong is the entire radio industry around guys like us who have given our lives to it. And because we've been, happy to be broadcasters, you will very much still be happy to be a broadcaster. And now you are indeed liberated, John Lund. You can say words that you've never been able to say before during a broadcast. And I know you're the kind of guy who will embrace that creative freedom.
And again, we'll keep you up to date on the game and everything that's going on. First of all, I appreciate having you, and we need to talk about you and I and more stories about that. You know what's funny about that? I'm sure you've had the conversation. So you've been doing this as long as I've been doing this, over 25 years. And what happens is when you have, I don't know why, I mean, I say fuck more than anyone that I know. But then that microphone and the headphones and everything gets on you, and you don't say it anymore. And I don't know how that works in the brain. I'm not nearly that smart. So it's taken me a minute to be like, shit and fuck. And, you can say or do. And I don't do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
You do those kind of things, and your brain is giving you this wavelength like, woo, 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 woo. Like you can't do that.
Right. You're your own board op. You're looking for your own dump button, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't need to worry about that anymore. By the way, penalty declined on pass interference on Juwan Jennings, who still comes down with it and picks up a first down for the 49ers on 3rd and long. So they are moving the ball just a little bit here. Craig's Kitchen 360 coming in with a $2 super chat. Welcome, John Lund, to paradise. And indeed,
here. What are you going, Peyton Manning? I saw that you had like a black container there. What do you got? You just because
you know what, John?
Oh, you're a good man.
Here's what we're doing. We're just gonna.
I'm whiskey based like you. This is not. This is not product placement. They're not paying me. Hanson's is up in Napa, and nice. they do vodka, but they also do. This is 101 proof, like double barreled, like whatever. Very nice, and I knew that you would be enjoying a cocktail, so I'll enjoy a cocktail with you.
A classier host might have actually poured himself a proper cocktail. I'm just pulling right out the bottle here, John. That's the way we go.
Bourbon? You're a bourbon guy? I just put a little on the rocks. Very nice.
Love it, man. It's good to see you. It's obviously been a really, really frustrating year for the 49ers, who have, ebbed back and forth between a team that actually looks like it might do something, and then right when you want to believe in them, they give you 3 reasons to drop that belief right off at the corner and not come back around and pick it up again. They've had, problems they've almost refused to not solve on special teams at times. And yet, by hook or crook, if they win tonight, they are still somehow alive in this conversation. They don't control the conversation, John. But, look, you sat next to Greg Papa long enough to, I'm sure be inundated with all the positive stats in the middle of a negative year. Yeah. And there is some truth to all of that, too. There really is. By the way, another big catch by 3rd and 1. Or no, did he not drop? Did he drop that?
I must have.
Did he drop that?
Akilla Weatherspoon jumping up and down. My prediction in this game is Akilla Weatherspoon's off to a decent start. He will get burned and cost them the game at some point. Because here's the thing. You and I have a job to do, regardless if it's on the radio or here or whatever the case may be. And you can't come in here every single day and go, injuries and weirdness. Ricky got shot. Trent Williams is out. Like, to a certain extent, even though we're on the West Coast, and I know you're from different parts of the country like I am, it's just, you can't say that. Injuries are an excuse. I think they're an explanation on the season, but they're an excuse to a lot of people. The major problem outside of those injuries that we can't talk about every single week is look at the money downs. 3rd down offensively and defensively, red zone. They go from the best team to one of the worst teams. Last week when they beat Chicago, they were 5 of 6 in the red zone and they were 6 of 12 on 3rd down. That's why they won the football game. And then other than that, they've been just atrocious. And everybody thought, McCaffrey's going to fix it or this or that. They've been terrible on the money downs, offensively, defensively, red zone, offensively, defensively. So throw the injuries out for a second. They've got to be better on the money downs tonight. Red zone, 3rd down. Nobody's been good on any down. What do we have? 6 punts already? Jeez. Yeah,
this has been a couple of fighters just feeling out each other with a few jabs outside of a big play to George Kittle. We have not seen a chunk play in this game from either offense. And I don't know if you're blaming that on, coach familiarity. I don't know if we're blaming that on the weather right now, if we're blaming on, a couple teams coming out tight in a huge football game, but there's nowhere to go but up in this one. And the 49ers right now have flipped the field. Maybe the best thing that has happened to them in this game, even more valuable than the 3-point field goal, is right now it's 2nd and 8 from inside their own 5-yard line, unless Kyron Williams here picks up a first down, which he just did.
The other problem, they can't tackle. That's kind of a problem when you play tackle football that you can't tackle. And that's another problem that is not injury related to the 49ers. Tackle. They don't.
By the way, as you are collecting your own group of misfits to come in and watch you on YouTube, you will be well earned to have Smiley Dan become one of your regulars. Smiley Dan is one of the best guys you will ever meet in your life. He loves sports. He loves music. He loves a good cocktail. He knows where the good slice of pizza is. He's our kind of guy all the way through, and he's already with you, man. Unleashed and Plus and cocktails and football. This is good stuff. Indeed it is. John,
this is awesome, man, that you do this.
Look at it this way. You were not there we go. You were not allowed at any point in time to be on the radio talking over Niner games while they were happening on KNBR. I do know that. Tell everyone, for those of you who have been looking for you since you left the radio, for those of you, because, we have listeners and viewers from all over the world who, might have listened to you, moved away, and have been dying to listen to you again. And now, Ken, tell everyone where you are, about your YouTube channel, your podcast, and everything you're doing now, man.
Well, you take a week and you kind of say, okay, what am I going to do? And then you've had a lot of success, and Larry's had a lot of success, Kruger. And, and this is just kind of the way to go. And you talk to some friends that were sponsors of yours and you say, okay. And I think there's and I don't want to speak for you, but there's steps in doing this. I love doing this podcast. So at John Lund Radio, I've got all my stuff. It's called John Lund Unleashed. And so it's really cool. It's just, I go on at 8:00 in the morning. I go as long as I want. I come back a little later, it's just like you said. And so you build that. And I think there's a lot of other things and balls up in the air. And I'm sure you got the same thing. And, but for right now, I'm going to keep doing this for, I don't know, till I probably keel over, because just like you, we grew up doing this. And so we watch a game and people hate watching games with us because we sit there and analyze and talk through the whole game. Like you've been brilliant enough to bring to the table here. Like my wife just now was like, is it the second quarter yet? Will you get the hell out of here? Like this is just what we've done our whole life. And so since we were kids, before we were ever doing it. So, there's lots of things out there, but this is fun. Like I said, reconnecting, and it's just cool. And I think your idea of talking during the game is brilliant because I love alt broadcasts. I like the whole thing of the lead guy, the analyst, that's cool. But I mean, the alt broadcast as you're watching, because that's what we all do, right? We all sit on a couch and we talk to each other and we have a cocktail and we do, and that's, that guy's an idiot and that. This is the best way to do it.
No, I agree. I really do. It's there's times where I just want vanilla broadcast, play-by-play color guy, just sort of leave me alone in my own game. And then there are other times, in lesser games, especially when I'm not that interested in any one outcome, where the Manning cast or an alternative cast, I think really has provided a new look into how sports can entertain people. And it's pretty cool, and you can be a part of it. And I'm glad. And man, I understand that first week where you're not going into the station and you're looking around and you're like, what now? I mean, you see it, you know that YouTube is that option, and then you start kicking yourself because you're like, why didn't I go then start that and really concentrate on that 10 years ago? What am I thinking, right?
It's so funny because I had that conversation with so many people. I had a lot of people who texted me afterwards who said it was the best thing to ever happen to you. And as you well know, you find out who your friends are. You texted me right away. You said, hey, don't worry that there's, 300 or 500 people watching. Keep plugging through it. I don't have an ego like that, man. It's like, as long as we're having fun and you're getting feedback and you're talking and you get to do your own show, which you've been able to do for years, it's just a great thing because the show that's in your mind is the show that comes out on the air. And so, it's no knock on anybody. As we almost got a pick there, 8:44 left, Niners up 3-zip. But
there you go. Look at see. That's when I hear just the pro. There he is, right there.
You did game night on ESPN Radio. Game night on ESPN Radio was 20 TVs in front of your face. Yep. I lived there for an entire summer, and I did all the games. And it's baseball, and you've got a person in your ear, your producer. Kansas City just scored. Dan Gladden just got a single. Like, you've got to say everything and stay and keep your ADD mind that we all have in this business online enough to say Dan Gladden with a single to left. The Twins lead the Indians 3-1 in the bottom of the third. Anyway, and you're going back and forth. And then at the end at ESPN, they have these program directors at the end of every night. Do you realize that you missed a, George Hendricks single in the third inning? You didn't tell people. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, right. Have you ever sat in this seat and realized that you're asking me to basically do play-by-play on 16 games and try to have a decent conversation with, whoever your co-host is? It's like you're asking me the impossible. But that's kind of what we're doing here, which is cool because it's so much more laid back. And when you see a good play, you can just kind of throw it out there. Like a Drake Greenlaw being back. I mean, it's cool, man. But yeah, we have ADD, but we can when it comes to sports, we can compartmentalize this stuff.
Exactly. By the way, big 3rd and 5 right here. Get off the field before the Rams get to midfield. Little pressure on Stafford, who's got to try to pull like a Patrick Mahomes forward option push pass. The option form, it's like turning a doorknob, John. You got to get that thumb underneath. And that did not happen in the wet rain. And it looks like that ball slipped a little bit out of Stafford's hand right there. And I'll tell you, for a guy who's got a reputation, maybe even well-earned, that he doesn't control the football well in the water, Stafford looks like he's having as many, if not more, problems than Brock Purdy controlling this football out here tonight.
Well, having Bosa back, and he just put pressure on because if Stafford's able to sit back there, he's just going to crush you, especially the way that Nick Sorensen coaches the vanilla defense. So to get pressure on Stafford, and he's going to make a mistake, that kind of flipping the ball kind of stuff, that can get knocked up in the air. If Stafford has pressure on him, he's going to make a mistake. If Stafford is clean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It's just, there's no doubt. So to get that pressure on him, like you said, to have a little bit of rain, which, by the way, if we did weather power rankings, rain is probably bottom. Like, I lived in Portland for a while.
Totally.
Rain sucks. Like, I can handle snow. You went to Indiana. Like, I can handle the snow. I'm all right with it. Even like dirty snow that's not at a resort. Searing heat I can deal with. Even the real cold. When it rains, especially like sideways, like it is outside right now, it's like, come on, man. Rain sucks.
Right.
Sideways wind. Like, that's the pole there.
Sideway rain is bad, and then the rain that's just like a constant sheet of mist.
Isn't that what this is right here?
It never goes away. It's like, this is as close to Levi Stadium actually gets to the fog belt, I guess, because it's nowhere near San Francisco. But anyways, Barry Ford says, Mary said to split this between the ganja jar and your wife, who ran down here and fixed the camera just last week. If it weren't for our IT department, we would be in serious, serious trouble. People are just loving seeing you here. How about this? Thrilled. My guys are broadcasting on YouTube. Really enjoying it. Lund Unleash. Y'all have my sports talk covered. Lund, DB very much, Wonder Boy. And you know what is? It's funny, John. We got to play such intimate roles in people's lives.
Yeah.
Joe Sullivan's right. Smiley ain't wrong, man. Smiley's a hell of a guy. You get to play such an intimate role, talking to people, sharing your innermost thoughts. I mean, I got to know more about you by the stories that you would pick for Caboose Pistol than I probably would had we gone to school together. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you really figure out where everyone's sense of humor is, where their dark, twisted humor lies. And I got to tell you, for a show that I would listen to often, because I was either driving in to do the show after you on your station, right, or a competing station, and you would always crack me up, man. You would always say something. You would always do something to put Greg in check. He needed it. And it was, I thought the two of you had a really, really good partnership together. I'm sorry that it came to an end. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know, and I know that you and Papa got along great. What was it like to work with him for all those years, man?
Yeah, you know what? It was a lot easier when we were both younger, because we did. And you know this, chemistry on a show, you either have it or you don't, and you can't force it. And it's like any relationship. So if you don't like each other, man, it's probably not going to work, especially in radio, because you're around each other more than your own family. But in terms of pop, we went out all the time. I mean, that's how we built such quick chemistry, is we were both single and divorced. And because we had that kind of in common, and we'd go out and we drink and have fun, and all the stuff that we talk about on the air actually happened. And the crazy stuff he would do at a Super Bowl. And, so all that craziness did actually happen. And so it did help foster that whole thing. When the one station started in August of 2011, and we had, Jason Barrett was the guy. I wouldn't even come down here, Damon. We had a situation. They told me in 2011 that I was either going to work with Mike Silver or Rick Bucher. They said, one of these two guys is going to be your co-host. Just come down. So then I come down, and the Thirsty Bear is right downstairs right there. And so Jason Barrett calls me in and says, hey, I got another concept for you. And I'm like, oh shit, a program director is starting to think that's not good. That's
never good.
So he comes up to me and he says, we're going to do this thing called the Wheelhouse, and we're going to rotate these guys in. And it was Michael Urban, God rest his soul, and Matt Steinmetz, and it was Papa. And after a while, it became obvious that, Papa, everyday guy, people had a lot of respect for him. And I got lucky because I was just new to the market. And that's when it kind of happened. And then we, like I said, we went out, we hung out. And look, he'll even tell you, man, at least at first, he wasn't real versed in being a radio guy. And he wasn't real versed in someone actually challenging him. And so we had a lot of knockdown dragouts at the beginning, because he was thinking to himself, I'm Greg Papa, I know everything. How dare you challenge me? But then he realized, dude, I'm not trying to show you up. I'm trying to boost you up. We're trying to get a show together. I can't just sit there and go, Greg, you're the best. Another great point by you, Greg. Boy, you're the smartest guy ever, Greg. I never thought of that. I mean, how boring as hell is that, right? So, there were times, but we had knockdown dragouts. And then by the end here, it was just like, if he was cool with you disagreeing with him, but I mean, he used to scream and yell, and he would have to turn his mic off. He would just how dare someone challenge the great Papa, And I got to understand. It was like, let's just have some fun with the guy, and let's, do that. But this as well as anybody, and we got to update people on the game. 3-0 still, nothing's going on. This is you got basically, it's like what they say, all wars should be decided by foreign leaders standing in a boxing ring, hitting each other with poop socks. That's what this is. We got a poop sock fight. But and look, this is what's great about this forum. You can say what you want, and this as well as anybody. If you work on the Giants flagship, if you work on the Warriors flagship, you work on the, there's a relationship that you have to maintain, and you'd love to just shoot from the hip on everything you see. No, we know a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes, but you can't. Right. And Greg, when he was with the Raiders, man, he could shoot from the hip because he had Al Davis. He had his back. And with the 49ers, it's just not that way. And it's not that way for a lot of teams. It's become more and more difficult to do what we do for a living. in that environment because the teams are always coming down on you. And so he's not able to say as much as he would normally say. Not as much as he could say with the Raiders. And so that part becomes difficult because you're like, you got to protect a relationship. Everybody's screaming and yelling at you that you should be saying this and saying that, but you can't. A lot of times you just can't. And so you can pretty much say what you want.
It is. By the way, we got a big 3rd and 11 here. Rain is coming down hard at Levi's. Brock is back, and he has just been wrapped up once again by a 49ers offensive line that has just been sort of retreating in the last couple of series here. We've seen Brock now go down twice, I believe. Unless it's 3. Let me quickly refresh here. No, Brock has been brought down. Did he get credit for maybe even scrambling for a yard for that one? That one didn't count as a sack. I don't think so. But Brock is 8 of 16 for 90 yards. No, that was a sack. Thank you very much. It did go down. Brock's been sacked twice. 2 for 10, though, is maybe the more surprising quarterbacking stat in this game for Matthew Stafford. 2 for 10, only 11 yards, and the Rams are getting the ball back here. Special teams return, got a flag on the play, but the Rams are going to be around midfield here when they get the ball back with 4:25 remaining in the second quarter. I am telling Lund, it's great that you're here tonight because there ain't shit going on in this football game.
This is one of the worst games I've ever seen. I mean, it is coming down a lot. This reminds me of like the Colts game where I remember sitting in the booth, radio booth there, and you could see off the lights how bad it was coming down, because based on the numbers that you just said, it's got to be coming down like hell because nobody can do anything. There's no footing whatsoever. The quarterbacks can't get anything going. The receivers, it's slipping right through their hands. I mean, we've seen Jennings drop one, which you never see. We saw Kittle drop one, which you never see. So obviously you're looking at Kyle right now, and it's just coming down. McVay's trying to keep his balding head. He's getting wet. Yeah, it's getting bald a little bit in the back there, Sean McVay. So you better work on that. But
it's all right. Have you ever seen his fiance, or I guess now wife?
Yeah, when they did, what was that? They did Hard Knocks, and he had the house there, and
she's like
it wasn't her wife, but my God,
I think she's like a Valkyrie or something. I'm like, yeah.
Well, you know what's amazing? This is why, and we're both happily married and all that kind of stuff now, but like, as a man, you have no chance because the backup kicker for the Bengals, Cade York, who's not a really good-looking guy, but he's the backup kicker, not even the regular kicker. And that whole story about having a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader on the other side last Monday night, and it's the backup kicker who can't kick anything. He was like a 4th-round pick of the Browns. And then he talked about this week, yeah, my girlfriend's a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. I'm like, you're the backup kicker, and you're getting a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. We have no chance.
Yeah, I've always strongly suggested to all my single male friends, become a professional athlete, even a failure of a professional athlete is as fast as you can. It'll definitely work out for you on some level. Did you see the story, Lund, about Joe Burrow, who is, there's a rash of break-ins in athletes' houses, and I guess there's like an FBI investigation. There could be some cartel behind this or something.
It is.
But what really pissed Burrow off is the woman who was at the house, or at least called the police to report the break-in, is some swimsuit model, and she was outed as being the resident that called the police, which means Joe Burrow's collection of side chicks probably got pretty angry at this news coming out.
Yeah, it not the best. And you could tell he was kind of pissed when he was talking about it. And you know, the thing is, though, is if you're a quarterback and you're making $55 million annually plus some stuff off the field, I think you're still okay. You can, you're not going to be the way that Derek Jeter did it, or some of these other guys that have just, that's got to be a system. Like Derek Jeter had a system. You get her out the back door. She gets the grab bag. You put her in a limo. I mean, he did that in New York City and stayed low profile, which is almost impossible. But yeah, he gets a break in like one of his supermodels is as house, but he can explain his way out of that. He's got enough money. He's not the back kicker.
You would think, by the way, I just went a little Google image. Here we go. Here, let me share with everyone what Joe Burrow has been up to. Hold on here, Lund. Hold on. I'm still not the technically most proficient guy in the room here. Here we go. Do we share this?
Look at that, bro. Good work.
There you go. There she is. I mean, what's funny is the police initially said in their report that when they showed up, an employee had called. Do you really think she's working? I mean, do you really think that this is the maid? I mean, look, she's gorgeous. Come on. They didn't think that this was a girlfriend?
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, but he's a quarterback. I mean, you teach him to be a quarterback, if anything. My God.
When
You
in
know,
doubt.
did you see? So Kelsey and Mahomes Holmes got hit. Obviously, as you said, Joe Burrow's home got hit. There's been a bunch of them. But then Tua goes to the podium. I think it was day before yesterday. Tua goes to the podium and says, look, if you come over to my house, I got armed guards, just so you know. You know what they should all do? Did you see? Remember a couple of weeks ago, Kim Kardashian showing off the Tesla dog robots or whatever? Those are like 35,000 a piece. Like these guys, like Tua makes $50 million. It's like 4 of those things is what, 140 grand. I'm just going to get I'm going to get like 4 of those robot dogs. And I am going to tell the media, I have 4 robot dogs. You don't need anything else. You don't need like big bodyguards. You just say, look, I got 4 of those things. I programmed them. Anybody but me and my family, they're going to rip your face off.
Right. Yeah. Well, they are in full seek and destroy mode as long as my team is playing. If I am on the field, you do not want to be around one of my robot dogs. Otherwise, they're quite lovable and friendly. You're going to see a point where if this becomes more of a story, to where you're going to have players working in round-the-clock security into their contracts.
Oh, my God, that rain. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it is coming down.
Seriously, that's like it was for the Colts, which they lost. And for some reason, Brock Purdy went to Iowa State and cannot play in any sort of inclement weather. But sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right. That was a sheet of rain coming down in front of the light sconce right there. So
is happening. I mean, nothing offensively is happening. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing is wild. But you know what it reminds me of is, and nobody uses as much Facebook anymore. And I was never really on it seriously. But you remember people that would like, I'm on a vacation to Mexico. And then you could look at the time that they posted that thing. So it's like, okay, I know you're in Mexico, not in, not in Pleasanton. And I'm just going to go rip your house because it says right there, it's 11:43 a.m. Like so many people's like, you're posting that you're out of town with your family and your kids.
Yeah. I've always thought that a little weird. What I always thought was really weird. And I give my wife full credit because she works in tech and she knows how dangerous it could be, especially around kids. What I never understand is the people who take the picture of their kid with the board, like, I'm a first grader at Kitty Carr grade school. And you're basically telling everyone in the world where they can just go kidnap your child. I never understood that, identifying and geotagging my child's location for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's weird.
Oh, it's really weird. By the way, 2-minute warning, 3-0 Niners. One play has been made this entire game. It was a 33-yard catch by George Kittle. Outside of that, literally, I'm not kidding, nothing. I think the Rams have 6 punts and the Niners 5 or maybe 6 punts. It's sheets of rain. You're not missing anything. It's 3-zip. They got it on their second possession. They went 3 and out. Then they got on the second possession a 33-yarder to Kittle before it really started to rain. And it's 3-0. And literally nothing has happened since. Not one thing. The best thing about tonight's game is Dre Greenlaw is back. And then you got Hufanga back. And that's the energy that the defense needs. I'm not saying they're not missing tackles. They've missed a few. But people have got to realize the effect that Dre Greenlaw has and the effect that Hufanga has in addition to what they just bring to the table, because they're playing with so much more energy. And, Achilles, I don't know how Dre is moving or looking or reading or anything kind of thing. But, man, last week when Fred Warner, they're like, he was asked actually, I think by Kruger, hey, what is it going to feel like to get him back? And, I mean, dude, lit up. So to get these two guys back, I know the rain is a big part of this, but it's helping them defensively. You can just tell they're flying around.
Well, and, when Debo was the Debo we remembered, the thing that he brought to the 49ers offense, which it's missing in, this year, is violence. And Dre Greenlaw is the exact same guy. He plays with a level of violence. He hasn't, but till tonight, played a single game this year. And he's already had to pay an NFL fine for violence on the sidelines when he checked Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals. So he is just... He's the kind of guy who throws the first punch before even asking what just happened. And every single team needs a guy like that out in that huddle with them. And he is their junkyard dog.
By the way, Terrence said I wasn't watching the game. I have an iPad. I have 3 TVs in front of me. I have an iPad in front of me with stats. I'm in a studio adjacent to my house that we actually built about a year ago. And all it is it's the only space I have in my house. It's probably 400 square feet tops. And it has TVs and iPads and everything all over the walls and everything. So yeah, I don't have it. You can't see, but I've got 2 iPads going, a phone, and 3 TVs. Just
nice. I love a good setup. If I didn't have a mounted camera, I'd give you a little tour here of my totally unimpressive studio.
Bro, I never leave this room. Like if she'll come out and get me, but I can lock this thing from the inside. So it's
nice.
I made that I actually custom did this thing so that like it's unbelievable. And so yeah, she'll come out here occasionally because it'll start smelling in here quite bad. And then dishes and everything. It doesn't have a bathroom. That's the only problem. But other than that, it's a pretty decent man cave. I've given everything to my wife. I don't know how you feel about it, but like my second going into my second marriage, I thought to myself, I'm going to be able to keep some of this stuff. I'm mature. She walked into my apartment and went, none of it goes. None of it goes. And then we built this thing and she said, okay, you can do whatever. I never am going to come out there. So just do whatever you want. It's not part of the house.
Yeah,
so.
my wife calls it coffee and sports. She'll say your room smells like coffee and sports. It used to be her room. It used to be her home studio or like home office. And then unfortunately, I told her, I said, a ripple in the layoffs have changed space needs in this house, honey. And so now, God bless her, she went to another location. She likes to stand up and work. She's like the kind of person that if you give her a chance to like exercise at work, she'll take it. And I'm like, I need a comfortable seat in a room that smells like sports and coffee.
We've sat on her ass for our entire career. We're not going to change now.
Exactly. I did a few years of shows where I stood up and then, I had the stroke. I'm like, that'll be enough of that. We know standing up during these damn shows.
You used to it at 95.7. That's right. When you were in, you would kick the stool aside that I would. And you would.
By the way, we got a 48-yard field goal to see whether or not we got ourselves a tie game here, which will give Kyle Shanahan a chance for a possible wraparound score. He's got 3 timeouts and 1:05 to work with, but we do have now a tie game, 3-3, 65 seconds left here in the first half. And as John said, it's been essentially unwatchable football due to weather, due to poor execution, due to familiarity, due to a lot of things, due to desperation, due to everybody in Santa Clara being tight as hell. I don't know. It's just it is a perfect confluence of why your game that is as big of a game as you're going to get all week might suck.
Well, and here's the thing about Kyle here. He's far too conservative for my taste, especially for a guy who has all the offensive pelts on the wall that he has. And if we're being honest, Kyle has had a horrendous year.
Bad year.
Not firing the special teams coordinator to hiring Nick Sorensen to being far too conservative. I don't want him to be Dan Campbell, but come on, bro. There's like a midway point that you can get to. An offense that is rather stale. And I know there's a ton of injuries, but I think there's some things that can be done. Hey, Kyle, we know when Debo's in the backfield, what is going to happen. There just hasn't been the creativity that he normally has. And that's not to say, Damon, that he should be fired, because I'm not saying that or suggesting that whatsoever. That's not what I'm saying. I think that, like, we can talk about Bruce Bochy or Steve Kerr. They're great, but they're not beyond reproach. And I just think everybody can have an off year. Everybody can have an off game. Kyle Shanahan has just had an off year in about just every way that you can. And I know the injuries are a big part of it. But I think they need to next year some sort of an offensive assistant like Mike McDaniel was. You're going to call the plays, Kyle. That's why we're paying you. But to just kind of be that, hey, Kyle, what about this though? And you're predictable. And they need a new special teams coordinator. They need Robert Saleh back at defensive coordinator, and they need someone to check the offense. Kyle's the czar of the offense, and this is the way it's going to go. And they need somebody else, not to call plays, but to go in there and say, Kyle, let's get a few more viewpoints in there, because it's Kyle's offense. Everybody runs a version of it. So you better do something a little bit different, because everybody's practicing against it every single day, at least major parts of it, which has made it why it's tougher to move the ball if you're Kyle Shanahan.
It's a copycat league, and there is no running game, certainly, in the NFL that has been more copycatted than what Kyle does. And there is there's definitely some of the league catching up with them. There's definitely some of them slowing down, especially in the red zone, which has distorted the feel of this year. There was just the weird off season, the Ricky Pearsall. Like it has been a weird year. We've had, sadly, several, problems with pregnancies on this team. There's been true sadness and weirdness in that locker room. And these guys are all human. That weighs on them. When you find out your friend has lost a child, it affects you. It affects an entire locker room. These guys know each other. It's just been a really weird year. And I will also agree with you. Kyle has the coach version of writer's block. This guy's a hell of a writer. He's a hell of an author. But this is not the best book I've ever read. This is, normally your books are a little bit better than this. And it's just been a weird year. A swing screen to Debo. And I think this is what you do. You come out aggressively here. You got a little progress there on first down. If you're going to really uncork and try to take a downfield shot, I think you do it right here, John. And then you start going a little erring towards conservative if you have to. But this is the
oh my
God. And that was nearly an interception throwing behind the target. And that's probably going to spook Kyle Shanahan right here to not get aggressive at all on 3rd and 4.
And that's too bad because at 3rd and 4, 41 seconds left. Obviously, points are going to be at a premium. I don't know what the second half weather forecast is going to be, but this is where, like you said, I think Kyle, I could be wrong, is going to run a ball up the middle, try to get 2 or 3 yards. He certainly won't go for it on 4th down. But this is a situation where McVay's going, maybe I get the ball back. And look, Kyle's great, but he is so conservative. Man.
It is funny how he gets over aggressive at the wrong time and too conservative at other times. He really does. He yin and yangs an awful lot. They did take a stab downfield on 3rd and 4, but incomplete it is. And now with 36 seconds left, the Rams are going to get the ball back in a first half that has had the least amount of action and one of the longest run times you will find in the NFL calendar year this year.
He wasn't open. Juwan Jennings there, who could make great plays and actually made a play similar to that in the first game between these two teams, was not open in the slightest. I love Brock. I think he's a great kid and all that kind of stuff. But, man, they're going to give him $60 million. And, man, I hope it's worth it. I hope it's worth it because, I'm not a Sam Darnold guy, but Sam Darnold's going to cost you $20 million or $25 million. Is he that much worse than what Brock Purdy is? I mean, Brock's going to get a lot of money, and he's regressed. I mean, that was – Juwan Jennings wasn't even close to open right there.
That was not a great throw. Maybe, again, so maybe that was a little wet ball showing up right there in that throw. I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses for the guy. By the way, Chef A, she says all chefs need their sous chefs. Hire one, Kyle. Yeah, just
that's the one. That's what we're talking about.
Different set of eyes, a different palate in the room. Is this too salty? You need someone to take a little sip of the spoon and tell you a little pinch of this, pinch of that.
Well done,
I do agree. Let's let this half wrap up. And then there's a couple of things that I was sort of saving for a little bit of a halftime show and presentation to just sort of highlight what a weird year it is. And hopefully you plan on sticking through halftime. You don't have to go anywhere.
I'm just hanging out.
You're just hanging out?
It's a ball. That's all. I'd be doing this anyway.
Keep on hanging out as long as you want. It's great having you here. Like I said, we are definitely more entertaining than this game has been so far.
See, and look at they're going hurry up. They're going quick. They get 8 yards on first down.
Now they're huddling. Now it looks like they're just kicking the can.
Wow, I'm surprised by it. In a game that's 3-3, and you have an opportunity to potentially get some points. I understand it's raining and it's wet, so maybe you don't want to screw things up. But interesting.
That looked like we were going to be aggressive, and then McVay's got to take a leak. Let's just go back. Let's just go. Let's just go. All right. So what we have now here are. Let me make sure we're all caught up here. We are at halftime. Let's take a look at some of these stats here, Lund, because it has been ugly. We got a combined 9 first downs over the two teams. Both teams have just executed once on third down, so no sustained drives either way. 108 yards to 89 yards. The 49ers are on top of that, but 7 terrible drives, and no one is averaging 4 yards per play yet. 3.5 for the 49ers, just 3 with only 23 passing yards for Matt Stafford and the Rams. A tie game with Matthew Stafford only throwing for 23 yards. That doesn't sound like a good trend.
4 of 12 for 23 yards for Stafford, and yet you're tied with him at 3. But again, the weather is just nasty. I mean, like you said, it's coming down sheets of rain, so it's helping the defense. Does it favor to you one team or the other? In the first half, it obviously didn't, but is one team more of a mutter team than the other?
Yeah, I was going to that. Father was a mutter was a mutter reference this week too, and I thought, hey, maybe that will bring out a good game in Debo, because everyone will be a step slower and he'll be able to, convert a little bit more power earlier into, his game. And he hasn't done shit tonight yet either. But then I started thinking about Brock, bad weather. It's hard for me to say that's going to be an advantage for the 49ers, but I'll say this, the weather has not been a negative or a positive effect for either team yet. It's been, both teams are handling it kind of the same way so far.
Well, it's not the Buffalo game because that's obviously snow, but you can tell that the traction on the field is none. And so it's everybody just spinning out. Nobody can get any traction. Nobody can get any leverage. So you're not getting anything. What this game is going to come down to, honestly, is a DB is going to slip. There's going to be a big play. Somebody's going to, something like a ball's going to slip out.
You already called it Ahkello Witherspoon slipping, and time is a flat circle.
Right. That's what it's going to do. There's going to be a fumble or something just weird based on the weather. Now, again, I don't know what it's going to do in Santa Clara in the second half. I guess I could check that if I was a weatherman, I would. But it's going to come to, if it continues the way that it's going, that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be somebody's going to make a mistake, a punt return, a kick return, a fumble, an interception. A DB is going to slip, a guy's going to miss a tackle, and then somebody's going to go 80 yards because you can't put a sustainable drive together. 12 for 88, 14 for 90. You're not going to see a drive like that.
Yeah,
you're just not tonight.
Hey, everybody, it's halftime of a nearly unwatchable yet hugely consequential football game. And look who we got. We got John Lund hanging out here. We're really happy to have him. For those of you who do not know, the name of his new YouTube channel is
John Lund Unleashed. Make sure that you check us out in the morning, and then we put a bunch of stuff out there. But it's John Lund Unleashed Pod is actually what it's called on YouTube, so you can jump over there and follow. And at John Lund Radio, I'm on Twitter and all these different places so that you can find it. At John Lund Radio is just the easiest way on Twitter to go and check it out. And I appreciate you giving me a free plug there, a shameless plug, because
we plugged away.
That's what we have to do. And you know what's really cool, dude? One of the first things that I heard from a bunch of different people is they're so happy to be able to have you on here and Krug on here and me on here and a bunch of these different guys. And I know there's other guys that want to do some stuff as well. And it's just really cool. I've talked to Tommy Tolbert a bunch of times, and he's going to be doing some stuff upcoming, so stay tuned. So it's really cool that we can all get together and that we like each other because this. I've been to lots of stations where dudes, they just don't get along. They just don't like each other, and it's a competitive kind of a thing. The morning show don't like the afternoon show, and it's like, hey, man, the whole point of it is we're all just sitting around bullshit and talking sports. So, it's just really cool, and especially in this realm, there's just enough to go around. Because if somebody's a fan of you or me or Krug, generally speaking, they're probably a fan of all of us. And there's enough stuff to where what's cool, and especially for like advertisers, like you got to bet us up right there. In radio, once it's said or done, it's gone forever. Here, people go back. Like you go to bed and 1,000 people have watched. You get up and 5,000 have watched. I mean, it's just the coolest thing ever. To have this thing just always live. It's just
it's like a vending machine for your show, and everyone can just go buy their Snickers bars whenever they want it. And there's no real sense of a competition anymore because you come to YouTube to look for the things that you're interested in. Your interest isn't about to run out. You might find something less interesting than the other thing, but your interest doesn't run out in any particular topic that you're interested in. And it's not like your show is on at the same time mine is, and you have a choice. You listen to one or the other, and if you missed it over here, you don't get it over there, and vice versa. None of that happens over here. It's start it, stop it whenever you want. It's all convenient for the listener, for the viewer, and I mean, there's a reason that when I went to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, the very first thing I noticed is that there wasn't a single content creator on that radio row that had a YouTube component, yet every single radio station did. And I thought, if that isn't a telltale sign of the future, everybody on YouTube ain't trying to be on the radio at all. And everybody on the radio is just trying to put it up on YouTube now. I thought, if that's not the sign of the direction the entire world is marching in, I really don't know what is. By the way, we have over 300 people in here right now in the room. Not even 200 likes yet. So everybody get off your ass. Just hit that thumbs up button. It's really easy. That's going to take the algorithm and push us out.
What's wrong with you?
Freaking A. I mean, we can only do so much for you over here. Now it's up to you to hit that like button if you would, please. It is great to have you here. This has been a painful to watch football game, tied at 3. And the Rams are going to get the ball to begin the second half. And it just feels like this is going to be a war of attrition here. The very first, I think, loses the game, John.
Yeah. Let me look at the weather for the second half. Not that I think this is going to be, this could be the factor in the second half. I need to see if it's going to rain, because if it's anything like the first half, and it doesn't look like it, the guys on Amazon are on there right now. And they have a little bit of a roof on them, but it's not much. So, and they're out there like it's nothing. So maybe in the second half, it won't be so bad, and we'll get a little bit of action in this whole thing, and we'll see what things are doing. Let me see what's going on in the second half.
I mean, I don't want to hear the words atmospheric river, because as far as I'm concerned, that shit doesn't stop.
Oh, it's, you know what? It is 6:41. God, with it getting so dark, you feel like it's 9 o'clock already. So yeah, it's still going to rain through 7, ease up around 8. Look at me, I'm like Bill Martin. Yeah, it's going to rain through like 9 o'clock down there. So, I don't know that it's going to be much better than what we've seen so far, which has been atrocious. Do you imagine buying tickets for a game like this? Like, I'm always on the fence. Like, my wife asked me the other day if I wanted to go to a game or something. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I've been to so many games in my life, and it's like, I don't want to pay, and I don't want to go, and I don't want to pay $25 for a beer. And it's like, you got a great setup at home, and now it's raining like crazy. Like you said, it's an atmospheric river, and I'm paying to sit out in this shit.
There's a part of me that does love the parking lot and the atmosphere and the fans, but I'm not paying to go to sports anymore in my life. Again, I've been spoiled rotten with access. And to me, I don't feel like I've had a proper night in the stadium unless I can, like, interview the coaches and go into the clubhouse and locker rooms after. Like, I feel incomplete if I don't have a microphone pointed in some direction at a stadium. So yeah, it's weird. It's like, not to say that it ever turned into work or I didn't like doing the job, but it always felt like I'm a little, like I'm at the office a little. It's always weird.
Well, again, this is why this forum is so great, because you dictate everything on it. And at times, I know this sounds strange, but you're watching a game and it becomes work and everybody else is playing. It's like, how everybody else is getting drunk and you're the bartender. I bartended through college, and it's like everybody else is having fun and you're not. And sports kind of come like that, and they become a job. And I got breaking news for you. Not all these guys are cool. They don't like us very much a lot of times. So this is kind of the way it is. But it doesn't look like it's raining near as hard. Because like Richard Sherman is just sitting out there, and all the guys are sitting out there like, like it's nothing. Now they got a little bit of a roof, but you could see behind it if it was really raining.
Yeah, it doesn't look like sheets of rain any longer.
Oh, so that might be.
Oh, we got corgis on the field. Corgis on the field. That's always exciting when you got corgis on the field. About as lovable a gait as you can have on a dog. The short legs makes for good viewing, everyone. James Foster, by the way, comes in $5 on a super chat saying, Jimmy used to fire the ball into Debo's belly. Brock cannot quite laser it in there. That's true on the slants and the screens. Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because debating what Brock is and isn't is, a cottage industry unto itself, John.
Yeah, you can make a living off it.
I feel that, he's a little bit of a litmus test for not whether or not you know the game, but whether, it's a litmus test for what you believe is important for a quarterback to have. Not everyone gets to build the prototype on the video game where he's, as strong and as fast as humanly possible. You don't get your version of Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen every time you get a quarterback. So what do you got? Well, I think we've watched Purdy long enough to know that he has what I'm going to call all the requisite assets you need. Strongest arm in football? No, but certainly strong enough. Most accurate thrower of the football I've ever seen. Is he Aaron Rodgers in his prime? No, but he's certainly accurate enough. Is he the best athlete you've ever seen? No, but man, he makes more plays with his legs than you would think just looking at him. You're you're grading him on that white boy curve, and he surprises you week in, week out when he picks up that first down, shuffling his feet. What I really like about Brock, though, it happened this week where Debo is talking shit and could have blown up that locker room, and he goes to this podium and he goes, you know what, I do got to do a better job getting him the ball, even though he knows it's not true. He's great at the podium. He is a great face of the franchise guy. He's an even-keeled guy. At no point in time will we read the story about, a massage therapist jerking him off in a hotel room in San Francisco. That's not going to happen. No. He's like a God-fearing, good Boy Scout kid and a hell of a successful quarterback statistically and in just the win-loss column, if that's how you want to measure it, too. The only thing he's guilty of is not winning a Super Bowl, which is something that most quarterbacks are also guilty of. What do you really think of Brock?
Man, you brought up about 50 great things there. But as far as Brock is concerned, this is how I look at him. And when I say the name, everyone's going to, what are you, insane? He's like a Jared Goff. He's like a Jalen Hurts. And what I mean by that is when everything is perfect around him, he can be really, really good. So if you look at the Lions, they're playing the majority of their games inside. Obviously, they do that because that's what they do. They play inside at home. But a lot of games, I think only play like 2 games outside. And all of a sudden, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's Jamison Williams, and it's those 2 great running backs, and it's one of the best offensive lines in the league. All of a sudden, Jared Goff is an MVP candidate. Who was an MVP candidate last year? Oh, that would be Brock Purdy. And then you look at the Eagles, and Saquon Barkley is doing this year what CMC did last year, and you add those receivers, and again, one of the best offensive lines in the league, and all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts doesn't suck anymore. So there are certain.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, real quick. Al Michaels is officially inserted. San Francisco's 45 miles up the road here. Al always takes a shot at Levi Stadium. He fucking hates the place, and he just did it. Al took a shot at Levi.
Every time. He's a bitter guy now, and he doesn't like that he's on Prime, and he's great. But so that's how I look at Brock. If everything's going great for Brock, things are great. But we're seeing it tonight. For a guy who went to Iowa State, if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's sleeting, if it's spitting, if it's whatever, he's not very good in that. And that's an issue. I love the Debo stuff. What Debo said this week was to every other team in the league, by the way. He could have gone to Kyle Shanahan or Brock Purdy and said, get me the ball. He's saying to other teams because he knows he's getting cut with his $23.8 million salary and Ayuk coming back and Jennings and all the guys they have. And I give him credit to this point in the year. But what he's saying is, hey, rest of the league that wants to sign me next year, it's not my fault. It's not me. And it's like, dude, it is you.
No, it's you. We got the receipts. We got the tracking data. We do. Hey, John, before our second half gets underway here, let me really quick, once again, go through my sponsors who are the lifeblood of what we do over here. And we want to say, as always, thank you very much to our good friends at BetUS. I got over $100 on this one tonight over at BetUS. I got the Niners. -3. So for a minute there, I was winning. Now I'm in a hole, but 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 when you use promo code YouTube 150. Make it a sandwich from Ike's. Get yourself a sandwich from Ike's. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Do it for lunch. Do it this weekend. Get yourself to Ike's. And if there isn't an Ike's near you, call a congressman, call your mayor, call the police. You need an Ike's near you quickly. And you only have to hop on Muni to get to the Dublin or West portal. You don't even need to drive. The Muni will literally drop your ass off and pink your drunk ass up right there in front of the Dublin or West portal. Love the guys, Kenny and John, Dublin or West portal. John, you and I need to go get a drink there soon. Yes. We really, really do. We are underway here. Third quarter has begun.
That looks like a rain, DB. This is going to be interesting now.
Yeah, it looks like the rain.
We might get a game.
The rain has subsided a little bit. Here's what I thought was interesting about Brock, and I just want to show this to you real quick, John, because everybody talked about how he's a dink and dunk guy, and the 49ers had no yak yards this year. For the first half, they were dead last. Now they're 22nd in football. Look, Purdy, he still leads the NFL in yards per attempt this season. He's down from his yards per attempt last season, but he still leads the NFL. So when I hear, doesn't throw the right ball, needs everything around him to be perfect. In a year where nothing has been perfect about the 49ers offense, including his coach, including the way it's all been synced up, this son of a bitch is still leading the league in yards per attempt. So it's weird. It's, the guy gives you reason to think maybe not, but then you look at him statistically and his career is beginning better than most Hall of Fame careers have actually begun. So the Niners will be paying this guy $60 million a year, and they'll be doing it this year, I think.
Ian Rappaport said it before last week's game, that they're going to pay him. And we know this, and everybody that's listening and watching knows this, which is if you have a good quarterback, you have to pay him like a great quarterback. It doesn't matter. There is no middle ground. God did not make, for some weird reason, he didn't make 32. He probably didn't even make 10. And there's probably two. Joe Flacco is elite. There's probably two elite quarterbacks in this league, and it's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Now, you can, on a given day or given Sunday, you can add to that list with Herbert or whomever it is, right, throwing for that.
Somebody's nuts drop, have a great game, and they're, Baker Mayfield's on a heater this month.
Right. But generally speaking, he's made two right now as the Rams punt again, and that's essentially it. So Brock's got to be paid this 50 or 60, not because he's quote unquote worth it, but because he's the latest. Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid at one point. Derek Carr was the highest paid at one point. That's just how it's going, man. If you got someone that's good, you got to pay them like they're great. And like I was saying before, like there's no way that the 49ers are going to go, you know what? He's too expensive. We're going to go get Sam Darnold. Because I was talking about this week. Shadur Sanders is going to go 1. Cam Ward's going to go 2. And then 6, 7, and 8 right now are the Titans, Jets, and Browns, who all need quarterbacks. But there's not going to be one there. Carson Beck isn't getting taken there. So all this, I don't mean to be Larry Krueger, but all of a sudden, if somebody called you and said, hey, I think the Titans are sitting at 6, Will Levis ain't it, and said, hey, we'll give you a 6 overall for Brock. We'll give you a 1st and a 3rd for Brock right now. And then you go out and get Sam Darnold for 25 or 30 million bucks, which is an average price for a quarterback. And you can keep guys on your team now and sign guys. Because I don't think Hargrave is coming back. I don't know if Greenlaw's coming back. Ward is certainly not coming back. I mean, you're going to lose guys off this team because you got to pay Brock. I mean, at least they got to have a talk around the big mahogany table about it rather than just saying we're paying Brock. And I'm not down on Brock, dude. It's just somebody, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody within that range called and said, would you give him up?
I think they're going to have the talk, but I think the talk is going to bring them back to Brock because it's hard to walk away from a guy that you're having success with. And they've had a considerable amount of success with this guy. And I also think that Brock is just a little bit smart enough to maybe be the one guy who could reset the market and say, I'd rather have, I'd rather us, put some talent around me. Yeah. I'm not saying huge discount, but maybe the Niners can do a little bit better in that year-over-year league average if they guarantee a little bit more money. And as we all know, these numbers are manipulatable and malleable to situations year after year over and over again. Anyways, look, what we have right now happening at Levi's is some movement in this 49ers offense. So let's lock into this game in this drive.
That's a great play call because you get Guerrero outside. They just swung it to Guerrero, something that Purdy just, I don't know if he doesn't feel comfortable with Mason doing that, but because Guerrero is a former receiver, they get him already on the outside with his speed and size. He gets about 10 yards. And, those are the kind of things that Kyle needs to think about that he didn't do in the Buffalo game, where it's like, get some guy going. You don't have to run him traditionally. Swing it to the back and let a 6'1", 225-pound guy with 4.3 speed get the ball in the open field.
By the way, why did Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason have to die so Isaac Guerrero could live? Like, how come it takes catastrophic injuries in front of a talented player to see said talented player? I don't get it.
Yeah, and that that's the thing, too, moving forward with CMC. I don't know how he's going to come back. He's nearing that magical age of 30 years old. Look, Mason has proven it. Guerrero has proven it. Guerrero at the beginning of the year, he couldn't find the hole. He didn't know how to surf the wave that you have to do when you're running a zone scheme. And this kid in less than a year, and you know the story of him. He played at Wisconsin, played at Louisville, but he was mostly a receiver.
Yep.
I mean, he has learned the zone system very fast, and they have 3 legitimate backs. And I'm not saying they're not trading McCaffrey. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, as McCaffrey gets closer to that golden age, they have got to be able to work these running backs in because they're too talented to just sit there, like you just said.
Right. Like Isaac Guerrero was leading the league in rushing. McCaffrey gets healthy and he disappears for 3 weeks in a row. Jordan Mason was. And then Guerrero, who had a dodgy September, like you said, couldn't really feel the game, had a much better October, didn't even play until, last week here in the month of December. So it is weird how Kyle, overuses underuses guys. And what we just had here was a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1. And the 49ers have dialed up another set of downs here, and they are getting closer and closer to the red zone, which has obviously been the sore spot of their offense all year long. Isn't it weird, John, that, I think we both agree, Kyle, genius, whatever. He's a bright offensive mind who does have weapons, even as they're on their decline. You still think you would be able to get a little bit just more separation, razzle dazzle, X's and O's, win the day moments in the red zone. He used to be so good. Was it just McCaffrey? I mean, it's odd how much they have struggled this year.
Yeah, I think even more as weird as this sounds than him even getting the ball. It was just kind of the Steph Curry thing, right? Where everybody has always got their eye on Steph. You got to know where he is. And that's what happened with McCaffrey. We even saw, I remember the first game they played against the Rams where he had the run, the catch, and the throw for a touchdown. One of his first plays was in the red zone and he swung out left. There was a linebacker, a safety in a corner who moved up to him, and it got Ayuk a touchdown behind him on the right side. That's what he does. He pulls everybody like a magnet away. So not only did he score a bunch of touchdowns, he opens it up for other guys to make plays. So you spoke too nicely about the offense, and then Brock threw a terrible ball, and Guerrero just got tackled for a loss. And here we are, 3rd and 11. They were rolling. It was 1st and 10 at the 30. We're feeling good. And now it's 3rd and 11, maybe.
100% on me. Apologize to everyone who's watching here.
Offensive line, my God, it was speaking of a rolling wave. Who blocked anybody on that play?
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Pearsall didn't get the job done on the outside. Well, I'm telling you, man, he is playing himself into disappointment. But he's played 7-8 games in this league so far. We still don't know, but it's not a great start. Big 3rd down here for Brock and company. He's got Debo. He hit him right in the belly, right in his hands.
God.
He went right in stride, and Debo bricked and easy.
He would have ran for a touchdown. He would have ran. It was a slant. He would have ran for a touchdown. There was no one there. He catches that and scores. He catches that and splits those guys and scores. Is the ball that wet?
John, it's not anymore. And Debo better not say another fucking word about how they just need to get him the ball. This is his 2nd drop of the night, his 2nd breadbasket drop on a slant of the night. And here comes Jake Moody, who does put one down Broadway. But Debo Samuel, once again, is giving the 49ers less than what they need out of him. He has run the ball twice for 3 yards tonight. That is 1.5 yard average for Debo, for those of you who don't like doing the math. And Debo now has 3 catches on 6 targets for 16 yards.
That's a killer. I mean, it's just a killer. Maybe he doesn't score there, but it looks like he was looking to run before he caught it.
That's a first down.
Certainly a first down, and he might have been able to split the defenders and score a touchdown. He was looking to run before he caught it. But you just hit it right in the head. If you're going to bitch and moan, then you got to make plays. And you not only do you have to make the plays that are right in front of you, you've got to make more plays than that. And he's been great against the Rams in his career. 5 of his last 6 games, he's been absolutely amazing. Bunch of touchdowns. I think it's 3 rushing, 2 receiving. He's been absolutely great against the Rams, but there is no excuse because even though they get a field goal there, that's been one of the stories of the 49ers season. Field goal, other team touchdown. Field goal. It's red zone issues, and they weren't even in the red zone there. But to complain during the week publicly, it's not my fault, and then drop a slant pattern that is literally, where else do you want it perfectly thrown? And again, maybe the weather had something to do with it. I don't think so. He let the ball get to his body and just dropped it, and then he hit his head a few times like, my bad. It's like, no shit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we know. You don't have to tell us. By the way, Thomas Selman, thank you very much. 49ers stop and score. Can you get an INT? Look, Stafford, I think, does want to throw one tonight. He might accommodate you before it's all said and done. Stop putting Debo ahead of the team. Move on to Kittle and Jennings. Yeah, I don't think Kyle should be looking to force feed Debo. Again, force feed Kittle, someone who will actually eat the food you're forcing him to eat. Like, get the ball to Juwan Jennings. Get the ball to Isaac Guerrero. Stop going to Debo, who isn't doing shit for you an entire season now. This is not a small sample size, not even close. Yeah, here you go. Lock in, Debo. Lock in.
Exactly. We're seeing a lot of people in the room talking about maybe he's getting the yips. And how do you get, I understand the yips at the plate. There's a lot of different ways the yips. You get the yips for a ball that's right in your hands. I mean, I don't know that's the yips. I don't know what that is, but the yips, I don't know.
Rain is gone. No excuses. Again, that wasn't about Debo not being fast. He was wide open, and it hit him in the numbers, and that was awful. This is Come On Friday saying Debo's in his own head now. He's trying to prove he's right versus playing loose. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'd like to think that the trash emoji and the word washed doesn't totally apply to this guy, but it's hard to say it doesn't. I mean, it's really hard. I had Matt Mayoko on the channel a couple weeks ago, John, and I asked him, what do you really think with Debo? Debo's had enough manipulation of his cap number where he says it's actually going to cost more to walk away from him than to just keep him and play him. And if he is kept and played, he cannot be your X or Y anymore. You have to basically say, you know what? He is a gadget guy. And there's room for gadget guys on teams, but that room ain't at X or Y starting wide receiver anymore, Debo. You're living in a different world.
Well, I would say that you don't compound problems. I'm not going to pay a guy because he makes a certain amount of money. And we know in the NFL nowadays, this used to be the case, but the cap is going up and up and up. If Denver can eat what they ate on Russell Wilson, then anybody can eat. And that's what's going to happen in the league. They just don't want Debo on the team. I don't know how to make it any more clear than that. When you have Ayuk next year, and I agree with you on Pearsall, I'm going to give him a pass because of the rough year that he's had both on and off the field, and he didn't practice in camp. So I think Pearsall is going to be the slot next year and be good. Jennings has proven that he might be a number one receiver. They have Kittle. They have the three running backs that you and I talked about. They've lost their way in the trenches is really what their problem is they don't have near the defensive line, especially on the interior. And Chris Forster, their offensive line coach, thinks he can turn, chicken shit into chicken salad, and he can't. You've got to start putting draft capital behind those guys and money behind those guys, because they used to be able to just pound people. In a game like this, DV, in the rain at Levi's, the old 49ers, and I don't mean old, I mean the 2019 version that went to the Super Bowl, and they would just pound people in the face. They'd be up on the Rams right now 20-0 because they just go like, cool, rain game. We'll end it off. We'll do this. We'll play great defense. They're not getting an inch, and we're just going to pound it right in their face. And by this point of the game, middle of the third quarter, the Rams would be going no mas.
Well, and this is where all of a sudden, after pounding it and having an under center legitimate play action, you catch everyone off guard, and there's your big chunk play. It feels like the Niners have abandoned play action. Brock has hardly been under center very much tonight. I thought he was under center a little bit more last week against Chicago, and that was the best the 49ers, Shanahan and Purdy have been on the same page, I think, all year. Maybe that had a little bit to do, obviously, with a bad Bears team as well, but this has been a rough first half into now the third quarter for the 49ers offense, and it feels like the Rams are starting to find a little bit of rhythm. A couple of first downs here for Stafford on this drive, 6:37 remaining. Stafford looking downfield, and almost into a little bit of coverage.
About 5 minutes ago, somebody said interception. They could have had that one.
That might have been it right there. By the way, Greg RJZ, Brock's really regressed. Open your eyes. Yeah, he's good, but he has not been good in conditions, but conditions have improved in this game. Bazzy Mien says, damn, Greenlaw's leading the team in tackles tonight. He's a god on the field. Is he already leading this team in tackles tonight? Trey Greenlaw is? Yes, he is. He's already got 8 tackles, 3 of them solo, and he's leading the 49ers in tackles. It's amazing.
For a dude coming off an Achilles, I thought he would be an emotional leader tonight, but he's played every down. It's just I
thought 25 snaps. I don't think he's come off the field yet. I mean, we've dealt with more Achilles stories than most markets get, between Durant and then Klay Thompson and then Dre Greenlaw tearing his Achilles celebrating in a Super Bowl. This is
whatever his
insane.
is. I mean, it's just, I'll tell you, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the way he's played tonight. But it doesn't totally surprise me, but I didn't think he would play to this level. I just remember at the Super Bowl, that was so devastating. I remember Tim Ryan had like binoculars, and he looked through and he goes, Dre Greenlaw just went down. And I'm like, it was a commercial break. I'm like, what do you mean he went down? And all of a sudden, that changed.
You were sitting in the broadcast booth, weren't you?
Yeah, and it was just Tim Ryan had binoculars for some weird reason right on Dre at that point. And it was like, he went down, and we all know the dude was on fire. And he had Kelsey one-on-one. He was all over the field. He was absolutely jacked. And then he leaves, and it's Demetrius Flanagan fouls, and Oren Burks and Kelsey's going, are you kidding? Like, Kelsey went from screaming at Andy Reid to just wide open on every play. Because
it
went down.
That's the way it went down. By the way, it's going down with Drew, $2 for the ganja jar. A little Debo. Christopher, Debo changed to number 1 to reflect his touchdown count. Yeah.
Well done.
Maybe. It may be. It's amazing. 1 touchdown for Ricky Pearsall, 1 bullet for Ricky Pearsall, 1 touchdown for Debo Samuel, no touchdowns for a guy who had 21 last year, and Christian McCaffrey. It's the only guy who knows where the end zone is George Kittle. And they're going to have to force feed him, I think, to open this game up from a scoring standpoint. By the way, we got a little, I don't want to say methodical Rams happening here, but you got Matthew Stafford falling forward. They're now over midfield. They're on about the 35-yard line, and they're looking at a 1st and 10. So the Rams are actually cooking with a little offensive fish grease for the very first time tonight.
Well, you're seeing the weather not be as much of a factor in the second half, so the teams are getting back to their game plan and what they originally wanted to do. And like you said, Stafford's a mutter. I mean, Stafford's tough. He got hit around so much in Detroit that he's the type of guy that, in a game like this, he doesn't have good numbers, but this is a typical thing that has happened to the 49ers. Debo drops a ball that should have been a touchdown. They settle for a field goal, and then the Rams go down the field and probably score a touchdown here. I mean, that's the story of the season is, you take the Niners take a field goal, the other team takes a touchdown. Debo drops the ball. I mean, I don't know how you beat that. Looks like the Rams just jumped off, or
little offsides. Yeah, false start on the Rams. Come on, Friday says, this is when Sorensen all year has gotten beaten badly by adjustments. And there have been problems, obviously, at the start of the third quarter. There's little elements of fatal flaws that go into the year if it doesn't go where it's supposed to go. And, Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley not even being close to the brain trust they were hoped to be, I think is at the center of part of the frustration of this year. I think giving up all the depth that they had to give up to sign Javon Hargrave has officially come home to roost this year too, John.
Yeah, Javon Hargrave has not been what he was. He's had injuries and all these different kind of things, and I don't think he's ever going to play another down for the 49ers. His contract is too expensive, and they just restructured the deal. So I think they're going to get a little bit of relief out of that. Then he's going to be gone next year. But Greenlaw's it's not surprising that Greenlaw is off the field right now getting a blow, and their linebackers,
the Rams are moving the ball.
That play, their linebackers just got absolutely crushed on that play by blocks, and like you said, they're just going right down the field. Nick Sorensen's not mixing anything up. He never does. He goes 4-man. The league right now is going away from that Seattle defense where they say, look, you know what we're going to do, but we do it better than you, so we're just going to do it. Mike McDonald, when he was in Baltimore, now he's in Seattle. Everybody is kind of taking that model of showing different things, exotics, all these different looks, fooling the offense like the offense has fooled the defense, and the Niners just haven't changed. Kyle Shanahan has always wanted that Seattle-style defense. He kept Nick Sorensen on board. He went the wrong direction last year with Steve Wilks, and so he didn't want to change anything, and he brought this back, and it's fooling nobody.
Is it time to abandon the wide 9? We've seen a lot of successful defenses go to 3-4. I was talking about this with Kruger. You kind of have to refigure your roster to rebuild the defense to a 3-4 defense, but this might be the offseason to do it. I mean, this is going to be a little bit of a reset button for the 49ers for sure. By the way, Tabor Pepper should go tell Debo to lock in. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if any I don't know if any football team has a more popular long snapper than the 49ers have. By the way, hey, John, it's Chris, used to work at Heads Up.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go. Very nice.
There you go. You got people who know you in here. Nathan Hyatt coming in. Just sprinkle it in the ganja jar. Thank you very much. Another falling forward first down for Kyron Williams.
The defense, to me, we're talking about issues all night long, but the defensive line, it's malpractice what they've done, because I get it. Armstead was getting older. I get it. Hargrave, but that goes back to Buckner. Then you tried Kinlaw, and then the money you were going to give to Buckner, you had to give to Hargrave, and he just hasn't been the same player. He's had the injuries and everything else. But in the draft next year, or in free agency or whatever, they've got to get big time interior defensive linemen. And I'm not saying they have to pay for it, whatever the case may be, to do what they have to do. But the interior of the defensive line and of the offensive line in general, they just can't play the style of football that they used to be able to play. And you hit this right in the head. They're just grinding it right down the field on them now.
They are. The Rams are going to, without a turnover, score a touchdown here. It just has that feeling. So expect it to be, are they going to try? Are they going to run a play here on second down? Are they going to try to get one more off before the end of the quarter? Or are they just going to flip sides of the field here? They got about 5 seconds to do something.
They keep showing Debo that's typical of the season. Debo drops a touchdown. They're going to score a touchdown and take the lead when the Niners settle for a field goal.
Yep. And that was just a show it, see if you can jump him off sides. They didn't do it. So we're flipping fields. That is the end of the third quarter. Are you still in? Are you still in? Are you
Oh, dude, I got more whiskey here. I got more. I'm in for the long haul. I'm fine.
Like I said, I've had
whenever you want me to go. You can kick me out of the room whenever you want. I mean, 6-3. It's just what's starting to happen though is the weather is allowing the Rams to do what they wanted to do, and it was what the Niners used to do. And what has happened, especially in the NFC West, but in the NFC in general, but teams look at the most successful team and they say, what do? Well, the Rams built an offensive line that we're seeing tonight that is big and physical, and it's manhandling the 49ers late in this game as we go into the fourth quarter. The Seahawks have built a really nice defensive line. They always ignore the offensive line, but their defensive line, Byron Murphy out of Texas, they got this Robertson guy they traded for the Jags. So they got a good defensive line. The Cardinals are a tough team. They all emulated the 49ers, and then the 49ers forgot what got them there, which was in the trenches, offensive and defensive line play. And we're seeing it tonight where the Rams have a bunch of young guys on the defensive side of the ball, and they've got big guys on the offensive side of the ball. And because now they can gain some traction with the weather changing, they're just blowing right over the 49ers every play. And then, like you said, then you get the tackling in there. And Kyron Williams is, when he does get tackled, he's falling forward for 2 or 3 more. We've seen this all season long.
Guys getting dragged down the field. I mean, I think the 49ers, one point in this game was at the Green Bay game. They missed 22 tackles in that game, or whatever the number was. It was preposterous. It really, really was. Let's see. There's one. I saw this comment on here. Let me find it again. They start scrolling and I can't find it. But this is Mike Antics, who says, new subscriber to Unleashed, the legendary Lund. Listen to you every day before Damon's show to see you guys together. So awesome. It really is. Look, I mean, I you know what I hated? Where I'm going to blame Jason Barrett here a little bit. Because Jason Barrett was the first guy to start offering cash for guests. There was never cash for guests when it was KNBR, and 95.7 The Game, looking, as the news station in town, started to pay, guys for their exclusivity.
Right. So
when I was on 1050, they signed Matt Mayoko, and I couldn't talk to Matt Mayoko anymore. Then I come over to 95.7 The Game, and Mayoko goes and signs an exclusive deal with KNBR. And so there was like a 10-year period there where I couldn't, talk to one of the best resources on the team in the market due to stupid exclusivity. And then obviously at no point in time, once John Lund and Greg Papa were on KNBR, could I have John come on the show or do a face-off? That couldn't happen. So now we really get to do it. I was thinking about it. I don't know. I'm sure we've done crossover segments. I don't think we've ever actually hosted a radio show together.
Not that I can remember. And I think I've hosted a show with just about everybody, but no.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Other than, like you said, I would be leaving, you would be coming in. And other than that, when you first came over and you were doing a solo show at that point, you with Gianna would come in, but yeah, that was your show. And that was about it. And we might crosstalk or something like that. But yeah, other than that.
Right. And I always thought that the show that I was coming in to replace might think I'm a little bit of it, because I always hated starting my show on another show. I hated the crosstalk because I'm giving away my opening line, my opening monologue in the crosstalk, and then I'm supposed to start my show and I'm already in my second segment, and then what am I doing? So it was never any offense to you or anyone or Papa or Sinus or Guru or anybody.
We all have our weirdness and style and all the things that makes. So I'll give you a great example of what you just said. So, and I, you just bite through your lip. So the program directors, I don't know who started this whole thing, but they want to start right at the top of the hour, right? So Murph has to try to get out of his seat, and the open for my show is playing, and then I've got to try to get comfortable. It's like, if people would think about it, I know these are third world problems, bitch and moan, and we're not
musical chairs.
I understand that, but what's going on is you want, like, if you had to come in and someone was in your cubicle, right, and you're trying to have the Johnson account call, okay, good call.
Yes, yeah. I feel this. I feel this in my soul.
Yeah, and so that's what Murph would do, and Murph would act like back in the day, I'm going to age myself, like the lady who wrote a check at the grocery store, and it's like she's pulling it out. It's like, you knew you had to pay. What are you doing? Like, so you're sitting there.
And so, John, I'm sorry, big 3rd and 4. Big 3rd and 4 right here. Rams are sitting at the 4-yard line, 5-yard line. Shut them down right here. Oh, they got a body on Stafford, who gets off of his mark. Bipped. Oh my God, that ball was tipped at the line. It was tipped in the end zone. It falls incomplete. There is a flag on the play. Let's see what this is, where they pick it up. Is this going to be pass interference in the end zone?
Oh, I hope not.
If it's pass interference in the end zone, they are right on the doorstep. So let's see. We're getting a huddle up. We're getting a huddle up over here.
Are they going ineligible? They're going ineligible down.
Oh, no. Are they saying that Nick Bosa got held?
Rob Havenstein just tried to rip his head off. I know that.
Round the neck?
Rams. Yeah, it's ineligible downfield. You can only be a yard downfield in the NFL, and lots of times when around the goal line, when somebody's scrambling like Stafford was, the offensive lineman will go down the field a little bit.
Right.
So they're going to push him back 5 yards. But, yeah, it's like Steph Curry in hoops. Like last night, he got hit on the wrist on that final shot. Bosa gets his head ripped off by Havenstein. There's an official standing right behind the quarterback, and he doesn't see it. Like, I don't like to bitch about officials, but in a situation like that, it's like, what is your job if you don't see Nick Bosa getting his head ripped off by Rob Havenstein? What exactly do you do here? Like, it's unbelievable how to miss that.
All right. Let's see if we got a game-tying field goal. It is a chip shot. This is a layup. And I believe we are about to have a 6-6 ball game. I mean, they're even milking this field goal. This game's moving so slow, but there it is. It is 6-6. And we are we're in a tight one here, baby.
38.
We are in a tight one. It is a must-have for everyone on the field. There isn't a single player, a coach on either side who can really afford to lose this game. By the way, Stafford's grabbing his ribs a little bit there. You can tell he got a little popped. He's not feeling it. It looked like maybe it's indigestion. Right. I don't know.
Smoked. When he went right, he got smoked. He was trying to get to the end zone, and you're not as young as you once were, Matthew Stafford. So he got smoked.
Who among us is as young as they once were? By the way, Sarah, the domestic goddess. Hey, Beta Busta. Hey, John. Let's fucking go, boys.
Oh, let's go.
There you go. Thank you very much, Sarah, for saying I am the smasher of the betas. I'll say this. Did you ever read that article that says there's really no alpha beta thing that was made up to describe wolves, but it's not actually really happening? And, then you're in a bar and you find out maybe there is something true to this. So I don't know, Sarah, but thank you very, very much. Andrew Deal, typically only get to listen to the podcast, finally get to drop something in the ganja jar. Andrew, thank you very, very much. And Nathan, very generous, coming in with $20 for a super, saying we need more of you two speaking for the masses. All right, Lund.
Dude, like I said, the greatness of this is we do set times just so that people will be like, I'm doing the show at this time, and then we'll tune in. And then again, it lives forever and all that kind of stuff. And it's great and so forth and so on. But it's like this, again, you just hit it right in the head a minute ago. The times you didn't have Mayoko, we had him on. And it's like you have these deals and you can't talk to certain guys. And I just dig it, because it's a free flowing thing. It's 12 after the hour, you've got a break and you've got an 8-minute, commercial spot. You don't do any of that kind of stuff. It's just, you're free flowing, whatever pops into your brain. We're watching the game. Brilliant by you to do something like this during the game, because that's what people are doing anyway. Everybody's sitting on their couch and they'd want to talk to a buddy or whatever. And then they're able to sit in here and watch it and listen and opine and do all those.
It's funny as people retreat, more into their homes than ever before, and they go out less and less, and they're in the palm of their hands. And this is as close as hanging out with people as some people really get to do. So it's what you will find.
I've never asked you this question. I got to ask you this.
Okay.
Because some people are on all the time who do what we do, and then so people don't know this. Papa is an introvert at a really high level. He doesn't like to leave the house. And if he's in public, man, he is plugged into the wall and it is max amps and he's going all the time. I'll give you a great example. And I'm sure you know this because you're a big college hoops guy. Back years and years ago, producing a show and we're having Dick Vitale on. So I just jump on the line to say, hey, Dick, it's great to have you. Thanks so much. We're going to have you on in a minute. Dude, I'd have thought I'd woke him up in like hibernation of winter. He was like, okay, yeah, going to be great. Yeah, we'll talk to you in a minute. All of a sudden he gets on the air and it's like, hey, baby. I mean, like he is just like
right into the bit.
So because for me, I'm getting, it just depends on the day. But Greg is a total introvert. Are you Damon Bruce 24/7? Or are you like, I need my time? Or what are you away from the camera or the microphone?
The same guy. I think any one of my friends would tell you that's just it. There is no radio Damon Bruce. It's always just been me. So.
But some guys aren't like that. But I thought that about you. I think I knew that. But yeah, it's like some guys, man, you think, they're trying to give Debo the ball again. Like, here, Debo, make up for it.
Well, he just did a little something. We got a flag on the play there, but Niners got the ball back here in a tie game. This is a very big drive with 13:33 remaining. And Niners, here's your whole year. Really. Here it is right here. By the way, again, Nathan saying we need more of the two of you. We'll bring more of the two of you. I mean, what else are we doing, right? John Lund's voice is sweet music. Appreciate you boys. That comes in from Jesse.
My voice is not sweet music, but I appreciate the sentiment. I know what you're trying to say. That's very nice of you.
Here's the thing, man. You become the soundtrack of people's lives.
Good call right there. Yeah, you
really do. You really do. There's a lot of bands that I'm into that I wouldn't suggest anybody even try to listen to. You're not going to like this. This isn't for you at all. But it's for me. This is what I like. And people do that with us. We've been talking. I mean, John, that's the thing. You and I have been out here long enough that we've been talking to fathers who have become, sons who have become fathers who then have become grandchildren. We've been out here talking to generations of sports fans. And when you're on the radio, it's like you're sitting in that car with somebody, and it's very intimate. It really is. By the way, thank God that it wasn't an interception because that was blocked at the line of scrimmage. And holy shit, it's now 49ers looking at 2nd and 20.
They had Kittle on a hold on the outside on that little Debo run, which a little bit debatable. And then, like you said, tip balls, man, you always get nervous in that, and they're deep in their own end. So 2nd and 20 with a tie game at 6. People are hating on Debo. I'm looking at some of your comments there. They just look. I made the mistake of saying I thought Debo, after talking shit, would come in tonight and play the game of the year for him. He's had a ton of success in his career against the Rams, and it's just not getting done. Nothing's getting done. Got a big strike downfield. He was looking for Debo. Debo didn't have much separation. Never does. But he was the target that Brock was looking for. I'm telling you, they are playing Debo into the most awkward post-game media scrum he will ever have in front of his locker. And he's an ass. I mean, you know this. Debo runs hot and cold. We were just talking about, who's on, who's off. Debo runs really hot and cold. We had him on, actually, ironically enough, at the Super Bowl in LA. and he had done a bunch of stuff, but he knows Greg personally. I know him. I mean, he knows me enough. We're not buddies and we're not hanging. I'm not trying to say that. Oh, a 3rd and 20 draw play. Kyle, that is amazing. How great was that?
Honestly, given the circumstances, it might be the right call. I mean, really, this is punt and get the fuck out of Dodge time here.
I guess it's just stuck in my head so much, the conservatism that drives me crazy. And you're probably right in that situation. But we were at the Super Bowl, and Debo's, you know how it is. It's a gong show down there. It's just you're going to all these different tables. You don't know anybody. He's doing something for like Old Spice or something. And you would think like this would be a safety table. Like that happens. I've covered like 14. You've done a ton of these too. I've done like 14 Super Bowls in Radio Row. When you see a local guy, hell, even Alden Smith back in the day when he was in the midst of all his problems was cool as hell sitting down.
It'll be the only time that they're really happy to see you.
So like Kaepernick, even in the midst of all his stuff, sat down and was really cool. Like everybody's cool. Debo sits down. It is such an ass, especially to Greg. We're like, what happened to that dude? And the worst part was there was a guy that was a huge fan, and he had, instead of Bo Knows, the sweatshirt said Debo Knows. He had a Sharpie, and he wasn't a fan. He was a guy that was helping bring guests table to table. And he said, Debo, do you mind signing my Debo Knows sweatshirt? And he was all giddy and happy. And Debo looked and kind of chuckled and walked off. Like, are you kidding me? Kind of gave him one of those. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We all have our bad moments. I don't know what was going on in the guy's life, but post-game press conference tonight, I will make a not so out on the limb prediction. He's not going to be having it.
Let's see what happens. Let's see how this game ends. But yeah, he's going to catch it, and he should, because he flapped his gums and basically told everybody, it ain't me, it's you. And tonight, he has been right in the middle of just about all disappointing plays that the 49ers have run offensively. Fuji Simeon, by the way, says, congratulations on your IU coach winning Coach of the Year. John, I never thought I was going to get a Cubs World Series in my lifetime. I got one.
Yeah.
Even more unexpected than that is the year that Indiana football has just given me. The Cubs will win 11 more World Series before Indiana ever wins the Big Ten. But that should almost happen this year. It was unbelievable. I've never enjoyed a college football season in my life until this year. It was glorious. My buddies and I flew down. I don't know if you've ever been to the Rose Bowl, but dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
My buddies and I flew down for Indiana, UCLA. And Indiana just whooped their ass. We didn't even know what to do at the end of the game. We're like, what do we do? None of us have ever gotten on an airplane and watched Indiana win a football game. What do we go do now? We didn't even know what to do. It was awesome.
Good call. You know what's cool? The coolest thing ever is when you don't expect, because there's so much expectations for the teams around here, that when your team comes from nowhere, like my kid goes to Arizona State and they're 11-2. He was in Dallas at the Big 12 championship game. I mean, he's having the year of his life. They're having a ball. You're talking about Indiana. Which, by the way, was Indiana's loss the only loss of the year to Ohio State, and they still didn't make the 12? Was that? Did they just lose one game? Indiana, they just lost to Ohio State, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
They didn't get in the final. They didn't get in the 12.
Oh no, we're in. We open at Notre Dame on Friday, baby.
Why did I think that they weren't?
Indiana is
Indiana,
in.
Notre Dame. Yeah, that's right. You're right. Indiana, Notre Dame. That's right.
I live.
They smoked Notre Dame. I hope they smoked Notre Dame. I really do.
I am just going to call Bob Fitzgerald and just sing the fight song like every hour on the hour. I'm going to start trolling Jed York on Twitter. Just really come down his chimney all nasty. Like, don't let Indiana win this game, John. Holy shit.
Oh, they got to win it. How great. By the way, Rams are coming out on the field. And it's a 6-6 game. So really quickly. Yeah, look, I don't love the transfer portal. I don't love this part of the year. Cal's quarterback, like all these different guys. And all this kind of stuff. I don't love that. I think you should have to sign a contract or something, a couple of years.
Oh, no. Stafford just unleashed a bomb to Nakua, who was wide open. He burned Javarius Ward. And the flipping of the field play, that the 49ers have been denying Stafford all night. Stafford just flipped the field. Oh, man. He just toasted Javarius Ward.
He just did it. He just did it with a shake to the inside, and Ward, it looked like he even slipped a little bit. I mean, he's not even in the picture. He's just not having a year. I feel bad for the guy, and he lost his young daughter and all those kind of things. But just from a football sense, he just hasn't been very good. That wasn't even a great route. I mean, it was just bad coverage.
I've been saying all week long, Matthew Stafford might be 36, but his arm is still 28.
That thing, he's a howitzer. He hasn't lost anything off that.
cannon, no doubt about it. Get him off of his spot, which they were doing early in this game. You can have a little success, but if he gets comfortable, you are in trouble. And right now, the Niners, they're in a little bit of trouble. By the way, Dre Greenlaw is on the sideline working little Theragun action on his calf. What an unbelievable return game he has had for the 49ers. Nice tackle there, Gibson.
It's too bad that, like you said, because we said this earlier, we were amazed at how many snaps he's playing, and it kind of just caught up to him. So he's not on the field right now as well as he's been playing. Like you said, he's got the Theragun on the calf, and he's trying to work that out. Dude hasn't played since the Super Bowl, so you can't expect him to play every single down.
By the way, have you got a Theragun?
Yeah, I do have a Theragun.
I do too. I did. My wife she's like, here's your vibrator. I'm like,
I was going to say, don't let your wife have it.
No, well, no, that thing you'd be in the hospital if you tried to use it for anything other than like massage therapy. So I'm not worried about that. I got other things. No, I'm not worried about that. But that thing is amazing. I mean, it really, really is. By the way, big third down here. Forget if there's a Theragun down if there ever was one.
Nope.
Niners are gonna make Sean McVay make a choice.
He's got to kick the field goal. Is it 4th and 2 or 4th and 3? It's gonna be close. If it's 4th and 2, I bet they go for it.
I would say as bad as the Niners have been offensively, I'm taking the field goal here too.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I'm a little surprised by that. Is it going to be 4th and 3? Fred Warner, great tackle. He's much healthier than he was. He was just not playing like himself. He went from Defensive Player of the Year candidate to just not playing well because of the injuries to now it seems like he's feeling a lot better. You
mean the totally unreported injury that the league should be suing? The Niners should be paying $1 million in fines, or at least my gambling tab, because I'm not putting any money on the Niners that I know Fred Warner was out there for like 5 weeks with a broken ankle.
Are you surprised? So they make the field goal, 9:28 left in the game. The Rams just took the lead 9-6. It was 4th and 2 with 10 minutes left. Now, if there's 3 or 4 minutes left, of course you're taking the field goal to take the lead. I am a little bit surprised. Like Dan Campbell goes for it right there, 4th and 2. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying it's right, because at some point, to me, Dan Campbell is going to get burned just like he did in the NFC Championship game. Everybody's giving him all his accolades for the go against the Packers on the 4th down. If Jared Goff slips and can't get that handoff, he looks terrible. I'm not saying that Kyle Shanahan should be that. I don't think Kyle should be that. But given his offensive acumen and the type of games or type of plays that he can call, I just don't want him to be that conservative. But with 10 minutes left, I am a little surprised inside the 10-yard line that McVay on a 4th and 2 didn't go for it. I don't know what I think Sean McVay just told everybody is, I am not worried about any big plays that this 49ers offense is going to run on us here. I'm going to drop. We're going to be in cover 3 the rest of the night. None of these guys are fast enough to run past anybody. And we just don't think you've got big strike, quick play ability. And that's Sean McVay just shit on the 49ers offense right there, I think, in that decision as much as anything. By the way, we got Delbert Davis saying, I have to admit it, and you've heard this a lot in your life, John, so have I, wasn't necessarily a fan of Lund, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this version. I'm definitely going to subscribe to his channel now. And again, I will tell you, you will now really meet John Lund on YouTube. You've been hanging out with the radio version of John. And in many ways, John was always uncensored and irreverent, but now you really get to meet him and you get to talk about whatever you want. And you get to go as long as you want on any topic. And you don't need to worry about talking your audience away from you because you went on or hung on or droned on about something too long. I've never made less money broadcasting in the last decade after what just happened. I'm sure you feel the same. You get paid?
Yeah, I'm sure you feel the same way, John. But you will return to a level of fun as a broadcaster that you might have thought no longer be available to you. You are going to love it. I know it.
I agree with that. And by the way, I want to get back to Delbert's thoughts. And look, I say this all the time, and I start my show with this. The rest of the world, and especially our country, they like. Everyone gets so pissed off when somebody else has an opinion that is not yours, whether it be sports, which we used to be able to do, Damon. We used to be able to have conversations that were logical about sports. You sure as shit can't have it about religion or politics or anything else. And I don't talk about those things anymore because they're so divisive amongst people. But the thing is, when it comes to sports, whether you like me, whether you don't, whether you like Damon, whether you don't, the reality is, it's cool. And I love that I can change your opinion But Damon also just hit it right on the head. We wish we could all, when we were in those points, and we'll get back to the game in a minute, they're in a bit of a break, 9-6 Rams in the fourth quarter. But like I said before, the Giants flagship, I can't just rail Bob Melvin. I can't just, I can say certain things.
Right. You can't be like, Farhan knows no fucking clue what he's doing when he is the guest that's coming up in the next break.
Well, there's and I wish, and it's everybody knows this. I'm not breaking any news to anybody. Whatever job you do for a living, I'm sorry, you're a banker. You can't go into the boss and go, "You're such a fucking dumbass." Right. God, how do you have a job? And then you just walk out like in your cubicle and you're still employed. You're not. So there's certain things that you have to do to play the game. And unfortunately, in radio, you have relationships with certain people. Not that we don't now. I mean, I don't want to sit here. I never get personal on anybody. There's plenty between the lines for you and I to sit here and talk about. And we'll tell stories and all those things. I'm not saying it's got to be if it's not between the lines. But if it's between the lines, to me, it's all fair game. But when you're on the radio, that's not necessarily the case because you have relationships to uphold. You're going to talk to certain guys. You got to go into a locker room. I mean, all those certain things determine that, you can't just go balls out, guns ablazing every single day. It just doesn't work like that in terrestrial radio.
I was always bad at that. That's why I pissed off a lot of PDs and got pulled into more than one or two meetings in my career. But, I got to be me. Hey, Ricky Pearsall has joined the team. And Ricky Pearsall has joined the conversation tonight of guys who have made a catch for the 49ers. Niners just got to midfield. This is exactly what they need here on this drive. But Delbert, thank you very much for watching. Again, Sarah, the domestic goddess, coming in again. All right, Debo, you're done. Don't blow the game for him. He's having a bad night. And John Lund, we need to do this more often. Barry Ford, who's from Memphis, by the way. That's a cool thing too, John. You're going to be talking to people all over the globe. Like you're never like 50,000 watts can suck your dick. Like you have no idea about the power of where this broadcast goes. That's what's the coolest thing about YouTube. We have my man Joji still in here. He's watching from Japan. We got Iceland in the house. It's amazing where people start watching from. It really, really is. By the way, I need to quickly, as this game is still going on, let me just jot down a timestamp right here and let everybody know. Thank you so much to our sponsors of Damon Bruce Plus. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to hang out. Thank you so much for the super chats, all the likes, the subscribes, all that good stuff. It means the world. Thank you to BetUS for everything they do right now. I'm down 6 points with my bet. I laid the 3 for the 49ers. So let's go 49ers. And thank you very much to BetUS. And by the way, when you go sign up at BetUS, you use promo code YouTube150 and you will get up to a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. We also serve sandwiches by my man Ike. Get yourself an Ike sandwich. If you don't have an Ike's near you, it's time to move, or at least get one built near you as fast as humanly possible. Oh, we got one uncorked downfield to Ricky Pearsall.
This time.
It falls incomplete, and I'm sure there was a big drone of Niner fans at Dubliner in West Portal. Go say hello to Kenny and John and get the best poured Guinness in all of San Francisco at the Dubliner West Portal. Love the sponsors. Love that John Lund, who was going to be our second quarter guest, is now in his 9th hour here on this broadcast. And I thank you, John. Seriously, when I tell people to come on in for a quarter, I do that because I assume no one wants to spend the entire night hanging out. But I'm sure glad that you have, man. This has been an awful lot of fun. And in many instances, we've been more entertaining than this game. We've done more to move the football.
Not maybe. Absolutely. Berendo goes right up the middle. It looks like he's a little short of a first down. It was about 6.5 left, down 9-6. But that's a nice Berendo run, man. Stick your foot in the ground, north and south. That's what Kai wants. And the kid wasn't doing that. So he is now. He's big, dude.
He's
won like 225.
Big and fast. Pooney, nice block. Dominic Pooney, very nice. McKivitz actually came and sealed off a running lane as well. Garendo, little cutback, little hop, skip in his jump right there. Good run. Good run. And the 49ers are
NDB. We might get a decent ending because they're in a drive. They're down 3.
Yeah.
And, it's like the end of a movie. It's not that we're going to forget all of it, but if this thing can be fun at the end, then we're all right. And then just as I say that, they get stuffed.
Right.
That's on me.
It's like when you go out to dinner and the appetizer was okay, the entree was it was all right. Didn't offend anybody, but wasn't great. But man, they crushed dessert.
Dessert, the after-dinner cocktail.
You leave the restaurant and you're like, it was pretty good after all. Here's the thing: if the Niners can win this game by 1/8 of a point,
no, that's not good for you.
It will. No, it won't. But it would be better for them than losing the game by 1/8 of a point. I'll tell you that. They need to win. If they don't win, we are talking about NFL draft. This week right. We're going to get into NFL draft coverage. Patrick Taylor is in this game for the first time tonight. Let's see if he actually touches the ball. Brock uncorks one down the side, and he's throwing an interception into the end zone.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Brock.
Again, there's two sides to every story. So maybe Jennings did something wrong, or maybe this, that, or the other. But I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the hell he's doing. You're 2nd and 11. You're close to field goal range. You cannot take this chance. And for John Jennings, who knows that he's got to break up a pass like that, it's so badly overthrown that he can't even defend it as a receiver. Awful throw.
I mean, Jennings was at like the 4-yard line. That pass was coming down in the end zone. Oh man, Brock I
don't even think you take the chance there because you're close. You're 2nd and 11. You don't need that play. And unless the play is wide open, you don't throw it. Now, I know you want the touchdown. I get all those things. I know you have a ton of trust in Juwan Jennings. He can get up and go, but he like you said, it's a 4-yard overthrow. He can't even get there. And unless that play's open, you don't need it because you're down 3. You can't turn the ball over there.
And here's the deal. Killing as much clock as you can on the way to the touchdown you need, which at this point in the game and where you are on the field means you are in 4-down territory the rest of the evening. Yeah. You did not need to take that chance right there.
Never. It's not open at all. It's if he's open or if he's at least even with the DB right there, Williams, then he can go up and at least knock it away. You're not in jeopardy of the turnover there. But and look at Brock's number. When Brock plays, I know this is really easy to say, but before last week, I think it was 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and they lose, and something like 8-1 when they win. I mean, it's just it's that simple.
Yeah.
We don't want to oversimplify this. But when Brock plays well, the Niners win. When Brock plays poorly, they don't have another way because they're not the defensive team they were. They're not running the ball like they used to be. I mean, Jimmy could have a mediocre game, NFC Championship game against the Packers, 8 throws, and the Niners were so good everywhere else they could win. But Brock Purdy has got to play at a high level, and if he's coming over to the sidelines and I'm Kyle Shanahan, it's like, bro, like you got to tell me what you saw there because it's not only was the throw bad, he's not open. He's not open in the slightest, and it's 2nd and 11. We can live to fight another day. We're close to field goal range. I'm not a big Moody guy, and he's a Michigan guy, so you probably don't like him. But the reality is he's good on 50-plus yard throws. So I don't see it. They're replaying it now. I don't see why he made that throw. Here's the bird's eye spider cam. Look at this. Pearsall goes in motion. Breaks off the underneath route that was just wide open. The underneath route was there for you, and Purdy, instead of not going broke by taking a profit, he just gets too aggressive. He overthrew Juwan by a good couple of yards, and Williams was just there to catch the ball as if he were the intended receiver right there. That is a devastating. He had Williams behind him. He had the safety in front of him. I think it was Lake. He was bracketed. When he looked at that play, that was one where he quickly looks to something else and says, that's not there. He's bracketed.
Brock's got to be smarter than that. It's like Steph Curry. I understand that game last night for the Warriors ended on a terrible foul that shouldn't have been called, and there was a scoring drought. But Steph Curry shot that ball way too early in the shot clock at the end of the game. And how often do you say, Steph, you fucked that up? But you did. And Brock, you fucked that up, man. And this could be the entire year. Yeah. Goodbye. Good night, Irene. Right there. By the way, it is AJ Cruz's birthday today. He let me know that during our earlier show.
Dude, right there.
And he comes in and says, forget it, John. It's Chinatown.
All right. So I don't want to take away from the game. So if some big play happens, Stafford just got a first down, Hufanga with the tackle out of bounds. We're down to 4:32. So DB, you know this. So people, especially Dibley, would make fun of Papa, right? And it was kind of a Ron Burgundy sound. It would be like, hello, I'm Greg Papa. And then Greg would say to everybody at 95.7, I don't sound like that. And we'd be like, yes, you do. And so it was a Ron Burgundy thing. Then for some reason, it doesn't even sound like him. Over at KMBR, it started to be this, hello, John. And it's nothing. And everybody in the building had a Greg Papa, but it sounded nothing like him. So you could do it right to his face, and he didn't even know that people were mocking him. So he had, and I don't know why, but 2 stations tried to do impressions, and one was Ron Burgundy, and one was, I don't even know what the second one was. And so that's what he's making reference to, because everyone would do a Greg Papa and say, good morning, John. Like, I'd walk in, and that's what they would say to me. And he didn't even sound like that. But that was that Greg Papa impression at KMBR.
I remember everyone would try to do his down the line. Hello. Hello.
I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. Who was the girl that ran the board there? And she would record all these
Elena.
things. Elena.
Button Vixen. Yes.
Oh, it was so, people got to realize, they don't have to, but Greg was always at home. And so they would stick him in queue, which means it's not going over the air, but we can hear him. And when he would, every single day, he would dial in, and the first thing he'd say is, hello. And so he would record all those. And one time she did it to the Adele song, hello. And so he was like, hello. It was the funniest damn thing ever. And she diligently recorded every single day him getting on the line, and they were different hellos. I mean, I'm not doing it justice in the way that I'm explaining it, but it was hilarious.
The hello montage was absolutely legit. So John, I started doing my post-game and Damon shows, and I would beat everyone else's post-game by starting at the 2-minute warning. That's what kind of gave me the ideas for, well, we should start this a lot earlier than the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter. We should start this, at the beginning of the game and do like a watch party. There's guys having great success with that. Well, right now we got one of our biggest audiences of the night. About 450 people are in the room right now, which means we got to get those likes up. We got to get the algorithm going. We got to let you know that we are thrilled to have John Lund along for not just a second quarter ride. He signed up for the second quarter, and he was handed the bill for the entire damn game. That's how nice John has been hanging out with us tonight. He is in his room of shame. Yes. And we're both pulling whiskey tonight. I think it's time for another John. Oh, spin move, Kyron Williams. They're now over the 50-yard line, and this is I think the 49ers are going to lose 6-3 tonight, John. This is not good.
Up 2 plays cost him. Deebo Samuel dropped the touchdown on a slant in the middle of the third quarter, and they're going to have to ask Brock in the middle of it. And Kyle Shanahan's always Brock played well. He threw to a bracketed receiver, not even close on the throw. And those 2 plays, everybody talks about it's, game of inches kind of thing. 2 plays did in the 49ers if they lose this, because as you said, they just got a first down. They've been doing this a lot, most of the fourth quarter, running on this defense that is tired, thin, etc. Can't tackle generally. And that's all they're going to do the rest of the game.
This is all of the bad things that have been the earmarks of this year sort of happening all in one game at the worst possible time. No touchdowns, no red zone field goal trips, no red zone touchdown trips. You turn the ball over. You can't establish the run. You can't get the other quarterback on the ground. Matthew Stafford has been sacked 0 times tonight, and he has been terrible. He is 15 of 26 for 146 yards. The Rams have held the door open and have invited the 49ers to beat them all night long, and the Niners just have not been able to do anything offensively this evening. Nothing. I mean, it's been rough. It has been rough out there, and weather is part of the excuses in the first half. There is no excuse to have not outperformed the first half in the second half just based on the way the weather changed in this game, John. It went from pouring down there to now I don't even think it's raining.
No, I agree with you 100%. The first half, it was ugly, and you can say, okay, you couldn't function in the rain, especially offensively. But you go into the second half of this game, the Deebo drop in the middle of the third quarter is unforgivable, especially the way that he talked this week. Brock is going to have to explain that one. It could be on the receiver. Maybe Jennings did something wrong. It's never as obvious maybe as it seems. But again, just because we got the overhead view, guys were bracketing Juwan Jennings. They're near field goal range, and it's 2nd 11. Kyle's got to be telling him in his helmet, no turnover. Like, here's the play call, red, right, whatever it is. And at the end, I'm sure he said no turnovers. No turnovers.
Right. We're on the edge of field goal range. Take a sack before you turn the ball over if you have to.
He cannot make that play. And now this play is going to take us down to the 2-minute warning, down 3. They got us.
And Puka Nacua is. So here's the thing. They have brought up a 3rd down. They are on the edge of field goal range. So here's the whole game that's going to happen after the 2-minute warning. The whole game will be decided here on this 3rd down. Niners are already into their timeouts. They'll have 2 remaining. But boy, this is I've been saying, so this is the night that the 49ers season officially begins or ends. Like, you really can't have it both ways. And it feels like if this is how it ends, again, it'll just be dripping with the symptoms that have been plaguing this patient all damn year long. And there will be an awful lot of hand-wringing from the Brock isn't good enough, fire Kyle crowd. And Kyle's going to age. He's already aged like a president. He's about to get several years older if he's not going to Miami with a chance to get back into this postseason.
It's funny you say that. I have a picture that I put up during my show this week. Me and Tom in Tolbert, we did the first interview of Kyle ever did. And he's wearing a suit like he's the first day on the job, and his hair is like jet black. He looks like he's about 17 years old. And then I did a side-by-side where he has the scruff and the gray. I mean, seriously, man, I remember when Barack Obama first came in, then when he left, how he looked, and people were saying that. Kyle Shanahan has aged 10 times what a president has aged. It is unbelievable. He looks like he was 17, jet black hair. He didn't have a whisker on his face. And now, like you said, he looks like he's 70. He doesn't look like he's 70, but you get the point.
You still got great. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We still have hair, which means we're ahead of the game, right? We got hair. Is that your color?
Yeah, I let it grow to a natural color. I would color like blonde and all these different things, but I don't have gray yet. I have a little bit going in here, like this area right here. I got a little bit. And my beard grows out, which is why I don't grow mine out, because then it comes out gray.
This is
now I'm like, I can't do that now because it's going to come out gray, and I'm not going to do some, Grecian formula stuff. It's
right. People say, well, why don't you shave the beard because it makes you look older? I said, well, I'd rather look older and hide the double chin, because if I shave the beard, I'm going to look so much fatter.
Dude, I know that's what it is. It's like, at this point, it's like, well, what are my choices? You have certain things that you got to do. Like, oh man, it's terrible.
Right.
Terrible. All right. So what do you think? What do we got? Short yardage here for the Rams, or mid yardage. So if it's Kyle, he plays a conservative, probably punts. I think, and especially if he tries to blow the clock down a little bit and runs the ball. Do you think that McVay is aggressive here and throws the ball in this situation?
John, I think he's going to get up to the line of scrimmage and he might run here. I think this could be 2-down territory for the Rams to just put the night away, right?
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. This is where I think, again, and look, Sean McVay is not the most aggressive of coaches, but I agree with you. I think he could do a 3rd down and short to a 4th down.
I would think about this in terms of 2 downs if I'm the Rams. I really would. By the way, Barry Ford said, great show, fellas. I'm going to take a cue from Mary, turning out the lights. Good night, Memphis. Wow. Good night, Barry. Always good to see you. He's sticking a fork in this game and in the show. And it's a 1st down. 1st down right there. Beautiful pass. Beautiful pass from Stafford. Just total control. What up, Damon and John from Fort Lauderdale? T from the 203. Thank you very much, T. Always good to see you.
Got to be 80s. Oh no, it's 3 hours past us, so not now. It's not.
Yeah, but tomorrow it will be. Yeah. D. Bruce DePluce, my only buddy spot on this season. Thank you very much. Or bite spot. I don't know. Either way, thank you very much, Mike. You are. You're here all the time, man. I really appreciate how loyal you are. Again, everybody, we got some pissed off people coming on into the room. 500 now in the room. Angry 49er fans are coming, and they are pissed off. And you should be a little bit, because this game, it's hard to ever put it on one guy. But boy, Debo said, it ain't you, it's me. And I can't think of anybody who's had a less helping this evening run smoothly game than Deebo Samuel. Again, 3 catches on 7 targets for 16 yards for Deebo Samuel. He dropped a crucial, probably brings it to the house slant that could have gone for a touchdown, if not led to a touchdown. 2 carries, 3 yards. Deebo is going to get skinned alive in this post game if any Bay Area media member has the guts to actually do that.
He should. I mean, and look, he's going to be a jerk after the game. He has said publicly he doesn't like the media. I've talked to him numerous times. He doesn't, and so people are going to try to call him on something, and it's going to be. I'm not going to go so far as to say fireworks, but it's going to be entertaining.
Here's what I would say to Deebo if I really wanted to get under his skin tonight because he was being a dick to the media. What I would tell him is, and by the way, I did an interview with Deebo, Ray Ratto and I did, where he commented us like 9 different times. So yeah, that pissed me off. Again, we're not forcing you to come on and do this interview, dude. You're on the phone. Like, you didn't have to do it. You were handed this. If you didn't want to do it, you shouldn't have done it. But anyway, my question to Deebo would be, do you realize that your total piece of shit podcast that nobody is listening to but Bay Area board ops to find the stupid shit you might say on it, no one's listening? Like, there will be no season 2 of Cleats and Clicks or whatever the fuck is Cleats and Chat, whatever it is. There will be no season 2 of the Deebo podcast.
Not here. No,
not here. And he's a Tennessee Titan. I don't think there's going to be much of a Deebo podcast.
I just, I don't know what either Brock on the play that the interception that he threw prior to this drive for the Rams, it looks like it's going to seal it, or Deebo. I don't know what they could say. Honestly, I don't know what either of them could say. Deebo might say wet ball. I'd call bullshit on that. And I don't know what Brock saw, because we saw the overhead behind shot of it, and Juwan Jennings was bracketed. I mean, those 2 plays lost the game.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like, I don't care what you think you saw on that play. The situation says don't do that.
Right.
You're not playing situational football. You're not. And Brock is a guy who excels in situational football. So for that to be, at the center of the bullseye of tonight's failure, if this doesn't miraculously turn out the 49ers way here, is that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. I mean, maybe that saves the Niners, couple million in a negotiation. I don't know.
Well, look, what it comes down to is when Brock is most effective, and I was saying this about Jared Goff and all this kind of stuff, when you have everything around you, it's, everything's going to be fine. But what he's trying to do is play hero ball in a situation where you don't have to. You don't have to do too much. Kyle calls these plays. There's still enough offensive talent around you. It's fine. They're not getting a ton of pressure on you. He could still, and he should know that. Brock has talked about it constantly since he's been a starter here. He plays within the parameters of his game. He understands what he doesn't do. He understands what he does do. And a situation like that is not what he does. I'm shocked that he threw the ball. And like you said, there was an underneath receiver that was wide open. Juwan's getting bracketed. There's just no way in a situation where you're down 3 points, 5, 6, 7 yards away from field goal range that you make that throw. It's
Look, and George is saying, stop giving Deebo the ball. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I mean, like, I think you got to stop giving him snaps.
So you stop him on 3rd down.
I'd rather see what Trent Taylor can do in Miami than have Deebo come out and go through the motions in that game. MKG says, well, now what? Well, now it's time to think about who you might be drafting, what that position might look like. This was supposed to be my only bright spot. Too many bottle pulls tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. We are 8 more supers away from triggering an automatic bottle pull, but we've been pulling off the whiskey with John all night long. So we'll see where you go. You can set up a little, like goals for super chats, and we'll see if we hit it. We've done it a couple weeks. We asked for 50 of them. We get 50. People get to be very generous, especially this time of year. Again, order your merch. If you still order some Plus merch and you do it today, it could arrive before Christmas actually gets here. Why wouldn't you have your entire family dripped out in Damon Bruce Show merchandise this holiday season? Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, something for everyone.
This is nasty, man. We got less than 20 seconds and then field goal, and then I don't even know what they're going to do. They're going to kick a field goal here. They just took a delay of game.
Thomas Messina says, does Debozo have picks Kyle with a goat? What the fuck is this? Yeah.
Oh, now it's starting to rain again. Lovely.
The weather's from the 70s, low 50s. Here it is, starting to get a little drizzly.
I said I was the weatherman earlier. Yeah, I said around 8 o'clock it was going to start. Man, look at it, right on point. So they're going to take a 6-point lead here with, I don't know, the Niners get the ball with what?
20 seconds left. Do you believe in miracles? Is the only avenue to the playoffs right now available?
The band is on the field is the only chance you have. My God.
Game full of field goals, John. Thank God, by the way, you showed up tonight and you didn't stiff me as a guest.
How about this? No touchdowns. No touchdowns by either team. What are you kidding me?
Should have taken the under.
Bro.
Should have taken the under. Oh, my goodness.
How many fantasy teams is this going to take down? Isn't it like fantasy playoffs now? Like they
well,
have
that, and I'm guessing you got, you're in your final weeks of survivor pools, and there's consequences out there for everybody. By the way, Rita has been a member for 2 months now of the initiated 49ers should have signed Lionel Messi as the kicker. It's Thomas from Stockton. Look, I will say this. Their kicker from Michigan that they drafted in the 3rd round has been the worst of their 3 kickers. The other 2 guys they just found off the street have gotten the job done more than him. So,
yeah, I'm not a fan. And when they drafted him in the 3rd round, Kyle and John walked in that night when we were at the 49ers facility, and neither of them wanted a kicker. Kyle's like, I wanted a running back. I was giving him shit. I was just like, what? And then John was like, you got to take one. It was funny. It's hilarious. They didn't want to take a kicker. 3rd round? What are you, insane?
So why did they? I mean, that's the thing. You don't have to take a kicker in the 3rd round. And if the guy that you don't take in the 3rd round will be there for you in the 5th round, because no one takes a kicker in the fucking 4th round either.
Look at Debo.
Oh, now Debo's shown up to the game.
Thanks.
Now Debo's here to play, and there's a flag on the play.
So are they gonna get a horse collar for another 15 on that? They might be close to Hail Mary range here. Close.
Okay. All right. We'll see if we can get a Caleb Williams.
I need another 10 yards or something like that. Run a quick out, and then you might have one.
Let's see. Are they going to call a little bit of a horse collar? I mean, he's got the back of the jersey. His hand isn't in the jersey or under the shoulder pad. I don't think that's going to be a horse collar. Personal foul, horse collar tackle. Okay. Yeah. That's the softest horse collar I've ever seen. The runner didn't even get pulled down or backwards.
So where are we at? What do we got?
All right. Horse collar. Here we go. By the way, 11. Throw it to Kittle. Why would they do that? Jorge Luis Sotelo. Why would they bother doing that? He's only their best player. He's the only dude on the team who knows where the end zone is.
Yeah, they're right at midfield.
They are at midfield. The ball is sitting on the top of the S of the SF logo. Here we go.
One short one. They don't have any timeouts left, so they got to do something to the sideline and then hope they get something there. And then
you do this. You run this in the middle of the field. You might get Dak Prescotted. You know what I mean? Where you're trying to get downfield and spike that ball, and you run out of time. This has to go to the sideline or to the end zone.
11 seconds is what they got. I guess you could throw one, but yeah, like you said, you might get a Dak Prescott deal. In that deal.
That's a horse's ass collar. Yeah, seriously. I've seen my 3-year-old pulls down my 5-year-old more violently from behind than what just happened to Debo there. But
that's a huge play because you're going to be at the 35-yard line. You just get to 15. I mean, that's massive because you'd have to complete a 20, 25-yard throw. Now, if Brock can do something to the sideline for even like 6, 8, 10, whatever, just get a little bit closer so it's a legit throw. You don't have to just throw it up there like a rainbow. You can get like a legit throw into the end zone.
Diego Sanchez. Once again, Tyshawn, at the end of the day, Samuel has as many touchdowns as I had from the couch. Might be nice if Debo showed up in one of these games. Well, I called him Mr. Once a Month because he usually has a decent game once a month. And I thought this was the game that he needed this month. And it didn't happen. Here we go. 10 seconds left. Corking one to the sideline for Ricky Pearsall. That falls incomplete. Didn't even get it to Pearsall to get a little ahead. So this will be the last play of the game. 6 seconds left here, John. And
somebody's just gonna have to ask him, like, was the ball slipping out of your hands, or you got not on the same page? I mean, like, even a simple play. That's not no simple play, but just a quick out to get that was open.
Well, the Rams are giving it to you. I mean, they're giving it to you. That wasn't even well defended. Now here we go. We got trips right, and we're gonna have Brock get sacked to end the evening.
That is so symbolic.
And they got there with 4.
Yeah, that's
they just rushed 4.
And look, I got to see it again. But if you're Brock, you got to get out of the pocket. You got to move. You got to be able to launch that ball. You got to be able to launch the ball. You got to throw it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
if you throw it.
You can't eat that ball. You can't eat that ball.
Man, that was brutal. I mean,
that was
again in a nutshell, that whole game.
The Niners went from their best showing of the year against Chicago Bears to their worst showing of the year here now offensively, where they only managed 2 field goals on a night where they were playing for their lives.
On the left side, Jared Verse, the rookie out of Florida State, just smoked him and forced Brock up. But here, Brock,
he might be your defensive player, your defensive rookie of the year.
He's good. Yeah, and then McKivitz too. McKivitz gave Young the corner, so both ends were forcing him up into the pocket. So he had nowhere to go. Both those tackles were garbage on that play.
Guess who's also got nowhere to go? The Niners this postseason.
It's over. Nailed the coffee.
You know,
they're not going anywhere.
There always is.
Miami, they got the Lions chomping at the bit to get after them. That's it, man. Who would have thought the Niners after 14 weeks would be done?
Who would have ever thought that, at the end of that Super Bowl, the Niners, were like, oh, will they get back? They will be the team in the postseason who didn't even qualify for the next year's Super Bowl. And boy, that happens often to Super Bowl losers. It really does. Kyle, in 2019, watch the following year be undone with an injury, right away to Garoppolo, which changed the arc of the franchise, which led to Trey Lance, which led to Brock now. And it's just, wow, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable that the 49ers would come out at home.
Yeah.
And play this poorly on a night where they got the exact defensive effort that they needed. Tonight is the best night of Nick Sorensen's short tenure as this team's defensive coordinator. Dre Greenlaw was a game-changing factor in his first game back from his Achilles layoff. The defense, in many ways, did its job. The offense was fucking atrocious, John.
It's all it is. I mean, we made the excuse, and we gave one half of excuse because the rain was coming down the way that it was. And then after that, the Rams actually put together some drives. They did kick a lot of field goals, but they didn't do well in the red zone. But they were doing what they wanted to do coming into the game, which they started to run the ball. And the 49ers could put nothing together. And let's just be honest, Brock Purdy sucked. That play that Brock Purdy made to Jennings was terrible. He missed a ton of throws. Again, maybe it's the rain. He doesn't play well in inclement weather, even though he went to Iowa State. But Brock sucked tonight. Debo was a complete joke. If I'm the defense in that locker room, what do you want me to do? I gave up 4 field goals. They stiffened inside the 5-yard line. One of those field goals. I mean, what do you want me to do? I gave up 12. What can I possibly do to help you?
We've already got Rob coming in saying, thank you for the super chat, Rob. Let the Kirk Cousins to San Francisco talk begin. No, let's not do that. I mean, let's not do that. The answer better still be
him. Oh my God.
Yeah, I would still rather have an overpaid young quarterback than an overpaid old quarterback who is on I've thrown 7 interceptions in between my last 2 touchdowns. I'm not going with Kirk Cousins. I don't think that's a reality of happening at all. That would set the damn the damn team back. By the way, over 900 people in the room right now. We've got a very pissed off crowd. Welcome. We're officially in post-game mode right here. And it is great to have you and John Lund along for the ride tonight. Thank you so very much for stopping on by. The two of us used to be radio guys. Now we're kind of YouTube guys, and no YouTube guy, no content creator, John, will be going to the postseason this year because the 49ers are not going. A dreadful, dreadful evening for Kyle Shanahan, his offense, his quarterback, his offensive line, and Debo Samuel is
major problem.
Without a doubt, the turkey of the night. I mean, without a doubt, Mr. It ain't me, it's you guys. And Kyle went out of his way to force feed him a ball in a way where you didn't see Kittle. I mean, how can Deebo Samuel lead the team in targets tonight? He had 7 and George Kittle had 7. What in God's name are you throwing to those two guys in equal amounts for? One is here to play. The other is here not to play.
I think Brock may have gotten influenced. I think there was a couple of plays where he was clearly not open, and I think Brock got influenced, and it got in his head that I got to get Deebo involved and all that kind of stuff. So what Deebo said might have worked, but there's just no excuse for the 2 plays that lost him this game. And there's a ton of plays in a game, but Deebo dropping the slant that probably is a touchdown midway through the third quarter, and Brock's decision on a bracketed Juwan Jennings down the right sideline, deciding to make that throw, which was intercepted, and they never really had another chance because the Rams went down the field, took all the clock, kicked another field goal to make a 3-point game, a 6-point game. Therefore, they needed a touchdown, and obviously, as we saw in that final play, he didn't even get the Hail Mary pass off. And to your point of, which I think is the most salient point of the night, which is this was their playoff game, DB. Not that I think they were going to get to the playoffs, because I think they were going to lose next week in Miami on a long trip. I think they were going to lose to a Lions team that was chomping at the bit to give them a little medicine back from the NFC Championship game. So this just happened faster than it was going to happen. Next week, they were going to lose in Miami. The week after, they were going to lose to the Lions. They play the Cardinals at the end, whatever. So this was going to happen at some point. It just happened faster than we thought. But keep in mind, this was the performance that the offense gave you, especially in the second half when the weather cleared up a little bit, when your season was on the line. Hey, guys, season's on the line. We need your best effort. This is it. This is like the Super Bowl against Kansas City. If we don't win, we're done. Gotcha, Kyle. And then that's the performance that they put forth. Give the defense a ton of credit. Hell, even the special teams wasn't bad because Moody made a couple of long kicks. But offensively, just that's what the offense did all night long. And in the final play of the game where Moore and McKivitz were absolutely bombed by the ends for the Rams, so much so that they couldn't even get a Hail Mary pass off.
You know, it was just a wildly disappointing performance. There's a lot of blame to go around. And again, this game, it's almost the perfect encapsulation of the entire season in the one game that we just watched. Frustration everywhere. This is the postman who, by the way, says, "Oh, yo, yo." They have the audience has put enough supers together for a bottle pull here. Yes. John Lund will join. He is classy enough to have a proper cocktail glass.
Bourbon glass for you, like one of my nice glasses. Look at that. It's a nice bourbon glass that I brought in today. Usually I'm like you, just take the plugs. From now on, that's what I'll do because I have the bottle here, but I thought it would be I thought you were running a classy joint around here.
We're running an appropriate joint for two guys like us, to say the least. Rob, again, saying, all kidding aside, Brock needs to develop some chemistry with Pearsall and swap Deebo for Cowing in the final 3 games. See, I would do that. I think I would. I would basically tell Deebo, we've seen enough. And I don't know if we want you, dealing with some sort of injury that could take away our ability to make a decision on you this season. I might ask Deebo to sit down the rest of the year and just say, Jacob Cowing, whether you're ready or not, you're in. We need to see what you can do.
DB, to your point, if he gets hurt in these last couple of games, and we've seen this before, and he can't pass a physical, that same thing happened with Jimmy Garoppolo a number of years ago, then you can't cut the guy. You can't. So that's a great point, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. All of a sudden, he's got a phantom injury, this, that, or the other, some sort of a tendonitis or whatever. Because look, you're 6-8 and you're out of it. You're going to Miami, probably not winning that game. You're going to Detroit, or you got Detroit at home, you're not winning that game. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They got 8 losses. I wouldn't be surprised they had 10 losses. That this was a 7-10 team, which I think in 2020 weren't they a 6-10 team after that Super Bowl? There were 16 games back then, so I think they were 6-10 that year. So it mirrors it, but it doesn't take away from the point of what you just said here, where you're playing for your life at home against a division rival, and if you win the game, because I'm not convinced, I'm not sold on Seattle. Seattle's 8-5, and McDonald's done a great job with that defense. But Arizona's not good. The Rams are okay. We saw that, Stafford was probably the difference tonight. But they're not all that great. So it's not like these teams were going to run the table the rest of the way. If you had won tonight and at least gone to 7-7, I'm not saying you win the division, but I'm saying you give yourself an opportunity. And they decided that was the best effort they were going to give. Weather's a factor. I'll give them that. But in the second half, we saw it. It wasn't as big of a factor. The Rams pulled it together, and Brock played horrendous all night. Deebo, when you talk like that, man, I don't care what you do for a living. You talk like that, you better back it up. And you drop the biggest play of the game was his drop. And as you pointed out, it's I'm not getting the ball. It ain't my fault. I'm not getting the ball. You got one right in the breadbasket, dude.
Yeah. Hey, we have almost 1,000 people in the room watching live right now. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to John Lund as well. John Lund Unleash. He's new to YouTube. And let's just say, funny radio business brought him over here. He's been hanging out with us since the second quarter tonight. We've had an awful lot of fun. We have about 1,000 people in the room. We're not even at 500 likes yet. Just go ahead, lean forward. You hit that thumbs up, and it's going to make this grow. By the way, Barry tried to come in and said, I hope this gets you to the big 50. Barry, I thought you had gone to bed. You probably should have. You didn't like the end of that game. Thank you very much to you and Mary hanging out from Memphis. Can we package Debo, Brendel, McKivitz to Carolina for like a 7th-round pick? Pearsall looks like another first-round bust. Time for a bottle pull. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, we are at the you've been eliminated bottle pull portion of the hanging out with John Lund portion of this program.
It is, man. If you don't, smoke him if you got him, man. This is it. I mean, it's over. It's over. M. Patel says, who's the biggest coward? Damon, Kyle, Lynch, Kruger? What did I do? Exactly. How did I fuck up this year? How'd you get into that conversation? Did you see how good these shows have been? Oh, he paid $10 to say it. You can say whatever you want if you're. Yeah, absolutely. If you're you can do what you want. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't know how you guys got it roped into that. I'll say this, John. You know, what can you really learn from a year and pull it into another year? Because these years aren't connected. Weeks aren't connected anymore in the NFL. They're like 17 standalone performances that have almost nothing to do with the other. So I don't know how much continuity you can bring or how many lessons you can carry over. But the one thing that I know the 49ers need to change about their franchise is their slow way of doing business with players that they might re-sign. Like they knew that Trent Williams was coming back. Mm-hmm. So you get that deal struck quickly and get one of your best players in. I understand why the Brandon Ayuk situation took a little time to figure out. But there was no doubt about Trent Williams. Why was that an off-season long holdout? And I just think that the 49ers need to rethink the way they engage contract extensions. And, you know, I don't need to see any more George Kittle sitting on the Rich Eisen show set saying, like, this is just the way the Niners do business. The way the Niners did business, cut their legs off to compete early in the season. And if you're asking where the season was lost, it was lost early in the season. They needed to bank wins that they didn't. Yeah, and I think you hit it right in the head as we go back. And I know that this season is going to be dissected and there's going to be lots of different things that people are going to talk about. But you're right. It started with Brandon Ayuk and it started with Trent Williams. And their philosophy has always been, we're going to wait them out. Look at all those contracts that a lot of these guys that they drafted, developed, and re-signed. They were signed in August, September. Bosa's September 6th. I think Kittle was in August. Warner was in August. Like you go down the line, that is their MO. And they got to change it. Like you said, it's kind of like Boris this offseason. It took so long to get all these guys done, and all of a sudden Blake Snell's signing with the Dodgers, all this kind of stuff. It's like, get these deals done. Get these guys in here. And to the guy who made the person who made the point about Pearsall, I'm not going to give up on him now, but he had injuries through camp. He has the shooting, all those kind of things. He hasn't thrown with Brock. They have not. And we saw even when Brandon Ayuk came back for the short period he did after the holdout, they weren't on the same page. You got to do it again and again and again. You can't take time off like they had to with Purdy and Ayuk. This offense has got to get together in the offseason, get everybody together, throw the ball around, get going, get healthy, whatever it is, because this ain't it. And it's embarrassing that a Kyle Shanahan offense loses a game to the Rams 12-6. It's ridiculous. And you and I said this, put Kyle in the blame column, get you and Kruger out of it. Kyle's in the blame column. You can't have this kind of offensive performance. I know the rain was there. I know Brock, players play, coaches coach, and Brock made some bad decisions and Debo had a drop. But Kyle Shanahan didn't call a good game either. He wasn't nearly as aggressive enough. As much as they were in their bag last week, there were no bags to be found this week. Deep sigh from John Brennick, who says, for what it's worth, Damon, thanks for the great coverage. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. You got a lot of options. Really appreciate you being here indeed. Watching Floyd get smoked by Kyron Williams. Yeah, Valen, just
Kyron Williams, and here's the thing. How many carries for Kyron Williams tonight? What do we have?
I don't need to watch this anymore.
38 carries. 38 carries for the Rams tonight. Kyron Williams had 29 of them for 108 yards. And this is the exact same thing that sort of worked in the favor of the Rams last week. They didn't have much success running the ball, but they committed to it. They ran it 42 times against the Buffalo Bills. And tonight, with not an awful lot of success, they ran the ball an awful lot against the 49ers. And by the time the third quarter came around, they started finding success in their running game. And it was the third quarter, that long drive in the third, where this game really got decided. Real quick to these supers before John and I get back to it. This is from Mike Partridge. Moody deserves a free kick on that Debo backside. Look, I don't even know if they would have executed that. That's a special teams play. I don't trust them. Mike Partridge again. DB's worse than Debo. The defensive backs, again, I'm not here to blame the defense at all for anything I saw in this game. Just want to make sure you hit 50 now. Pull. Valent. Okay, you know what? You get one more. I'm going to finish this fucking bottle.
Yeah, you hold somebody to 12, you got to win the game. And we said this early, DB. We said this early, which is the Rams have become the Niners in that they built a big offensive line. Kyron Williams is a physical running back. He can break tackles. When Kyle has over 30 carries, he wins 80% of the time. The Rams ran at 38, and the Niners ran at 19, and you wouldn't even have to look at the scoreboard. That's not what you want. Brock went 14 of 31, so they threw it 31 and they ran at 19. When does the Kyle Shanahan team win that game? They
right.
don't.
It just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. James Lee coming in with $5 for the ganja jar. The metrics probably say otherwise, but the eye test shows me the O-line and D-line have been complete train wrecks this season. I think your eye test, and I don't care, I'm sure that the 49ers, here's the thing. What's been really frustrating about this year is every aspect of the 49ers, when you go to the stats to sort of try to motherfuck them through the stats, they're right in the middle on a lot of things. But being in the middle does also represent massive regression. Now, the offensive line, in a weird way, because of Purdy, I thought has even played a little bit better than it did last year, but they're just not getting those results because Christian McCaffrey hasn't been out there. The offensive line needs reinvestment, and the defensive line absolutely needs reinvestment. And Nick Bosa, since signing the mega deal, and I know he gets his pressures, he's not paid for pressure. He's paid for sacks. And I think that, in order to understand whether Nick Bosa had a good game or not, to have to open up Pro Football Talk or Pro Football Focus to see what his grade was, and then you're like, oh, I guess he played better than I thought he did. I'm getting tired of doing that, man. Great defenders don't need to be measured statistically. You walk away after watching that game saying, dude, that dude wrecked fucking shop tonight. And Nick Bosa doesn't wreck shop quite like he used to. Mike Partridge says Purdy, irrelevant. Not going to argue with you tonight. Bill M says, boys, I didn't watch the game. I was following it on ESPN and watching you guys. Wouldn't you say that Kyle had a horrible game plan? I blame Kyle. It wasn't a good game plan, that's for sure. No one's gonna use this night to talk about what a good year Kyle had. That's for sure, John.
Well, in a game like this, and I thought he blew the Buffalo game too, and yeah, it was snowing and it was crazy, but you were hearing Collinsworth during that game saying, get the ball outside, kind of get a running start. There's certain ways. His dad coached in Denver. He knew how to play in that stuff, but they didn't look prepared in that game. They didn't look prepared in this game. They knew the rain was coming. They're not stupid. So what's your game plan? One time I saw him swing a ball out to Guerrero in the flat, who was already going. So he's got momentum going forward, and that's how it should have been in the Buffalo game. And now other guys are trying to get their grip. They're trying to, grip their tires to the ground and make plays and have leverage, and they can't. And Guerrero did. And why isn't the light going off in your head? You didn't have a game plan for the weather. And I know it's not easy, but the Rams just said, look, you and I talked about this at halftime. Who are going to be the mutters? The Rams ran it 38 times, and it's not like they were dominating the game up 3 touchdowns when a team runs like that. 38-19 running the ball. You've got to figure out ways, shorter passes. The rain's going to screw you up. Okay, we got to do shorter, quicker hitters, run after the catch kind of stuff. Things down the field aren't going to work. How many balls did Brock throw down the field and then hit? He didn't, because it's difficult in that kind of weather to complete long passes. He got the 33-yarder to Kittle And outside of that, he missed a lot of them. He just missed a lot of throws, 14 to 31.
Yeah, that is the opposite of efficiency. And the man is usually a model of it. What is he, 20 of 25 just last week?
Right.
M. Patel comes back in again with $10. Thank you, M. Patel. Kyle Chokahan is now going to miss the playoffs in 4 out of 8 seasons. Andy Reid missed 5 in 14 seasons in Philadelphia. Please stop with the Andy Reid and Kyle comparisons. You know, again, I'm just tired of every loss being a relitigation of whether Kyle is good at this or not. Good coaches can have bad games and bad seasons, and I'm going to wrap this up. I will also tell you that going to the playoffs once, every other year over an 8-year span is the NFL equivalent of that was pretty damn good. Okay, not a lot of teams can say that. Not a lot of coaches or franchises can say that in the last 8 playoffs, we've appeared in 4 of them, reaching the Super Bowl in 2 of them. So, the stat that you're using to disparage Kyle is also a stat that I would go to explain he's better than what you've seen this year. Again, had Jimmy Garoppolo hit Emmanuel Sanders on that fucking pass,
I know, right?
We wouldn't have to relitigate this all the time.
You're right. Because then he'd be a Super Bowl winning coach and people would go, just one ring, not even 3 or 4, just one.
If Nick Bosa had tackled Patrick Mahomes on 4th and whatever that was in overtime, that's it. Brock has his Super Bowl. Jimmy has his Super Bowl. Kyle has won 2. The Niners have run into the team that singularly has defined the era twice in Super Bowls. I get it. I get it. Nobody's happy with what you're seeing. There's no way to say that this year was an improvement over last year. But there have been a lot of mitigating factors that I think go into a reasonable explanation of why this did not work. And now if you were to have several of these seasons, then we'd have a problem. Mm-hmm. It feels like the bad years are one-off years for the most part. Again, real quickly, John, I know you got a lot to say here. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Diva. I guess that was for Debo right there. We got Fuji Simeon saying small sample size, but extend Drake Greenlaw right now, please. He was awesome tonight. Did he lead the team in tackles? No, Fred Warner had 15. Drake Greenlaw.
He didn't because he had to come out of the game for a blow for a while there.
Yeah. Drake Greenlaw finished, though, second, tied for second with Talanoa Hufanga, 8 tackles. He moved great in his first game back from his injury. Rob saying Shanahan's not getting fired, but it's time to kick John Lynch upstairs and bring in a GM independent of Kyle this offseason. What do you think of that, Lund? Do you think do you think that John Lynch is as much a part of the problem as he is capable of being part of the solution?
Well, once they have the team together, I don't know how that's John Lynch's fault. They're aggressive they're aggressive in trying to go out and get people. They weren't going to make a move at the deadline because they didn't have any move to make. And if you want to base it on this year's draft class, because Garendo's a part of that and Mustafa is a part of that. And look, Pearsall hasn't worked out, but the Niners don't pick anybody good in the first round that's not named Nick Bosa. I mean, from the second round on, there's not a better team in the league at picking guys. If you look at this class and put Dominic Mooney in there and all these guys, this is a great draft class. So to me, it's not on John Lynch. I know people hate to hear this, and we've talked about it. Injuries this year are an explanation, not an excuse. They just are. And you don't want to hear that, but it's the same reason they were in 2020 after that Super Bowl. If everybody's healthy, and this is maybe what is so frustrating about tonight, because Nick Bosa did return. Greenlaw did return. Hufanga is back. They missed Trent Williams at left tackle. I mean, look at the last play of the game. Look at the last offensive play of the game.
Jalen Moore had done a great job up into that last play of the game. Right. He really had.
Look, we can't say it every week, and we've got to base our discussion on what happened tonight. And offensively, it was terrible. No matter if you want to throw the weather in there as an excuse or not, but the injuries have devastated this team, and there's just no other way to say it. If this team is moderately healthy, because we're talking about football, you're never going to be totally healthy. But if they are moderately healthy, like they were, say, last year, then this is a different story because this is a really bad to, mediocre to bad division, and they'd probably be up there. And I don't want to hear they should have beat the Rams. They were up 10. They should have beat the Cardinals. They shouldn't have because they didn't. And there is a skill to closing a game. So I'm not going to sit there because Kyle has said that numerous times this year, and it drives me through a wall. It's one of my peeves. He said, we should be this, we should be that. Bill Parcells said, you are what your record is. And that's 100% true. There's a skill to closing a football game. And a lot of times Kyle doesn't know how to do it, let alone come back, which he never does.
By the way, for two guys who never worked together before, this sure has been pretty damn easy. Who are these program directors who never put us in the same studio together? Jesus Christ, John.
Yeah, it ain't hard, dude. It ain't hard. Now, this is cool, man. I gotta tell you, you've done a tremendous job for somebody who was laid off, fired like 3 weeks ago. It's cool to see you and Krug and going out on your own, and you guys have got it nailed, and it's awesome. And you got a great community of people that are supporting you, and it's just cool, man. And there's a reason why you've always been successful, and you can tell just sitting here bullshitting the whole, the whole time since the second quarter. There's a reason why you were successful in radio. There's a reason why you're going to be successful and are successful here. So I appreciate you having me on and hanging out. And
thank you, brother. I really do. You have more than given at the office tonight. Your 15-minute appearance has now gone on about 3 hours. So I thank you very, very much. And I'm telling you right now, I want everybody, when you're done watching this channel tonight, go over and subscribe to John Lund's channel. Give him a notify, follow, and keep an eye on John's spaces, because it's only a matter of time before you are right where the rest of us are over here, John. It's just going to take a little investment in your time, and you're going to see the whole world open in front of you. And what I love is the best piece of advice I got, you have already taken. Don't wait for perfect to come along. Just start. Just go.
Yeah,
and you've been doing that. I've been seeing the promotional thumbnails that you've been using for yourself. I don't know who's coming up with that for you, but or maybe it's you. You've been doing a great job. I'm so happy for you. And let you and I mean, we should definitely do something together once a week. Don't you think?
You know what's funny? Absolutely. You know what's funny is of all the people, I'm not lying, I'm not just saying this because I've been drinking and we're sitting here, is that everybody has come at me since I started my channel and said, got to talk to Damon Bruce, got to talk to Damon Bruce. Because I've done shows with just about everybody that people want me to do a show with or want you to do a show with. But like you said, we were competing, then we were together, then we were competing. But we were always cool. And what was funny is you always had this reputation. Everybody was like, Damon's not a good guy, or Damon's this or that. Dude, you and I had a great relationship. We always had a great relationship.
Wait, Damon's not a good guy? Who said that? What the fuck?
Good guy. You have an opinion, dude, and you don't hesitate to do it. And I think some people interpret that as intimidating or something like that. We always had a great relationship, you and I always had a ton of respect for what you did. I know you've done a lot of national stuff and all that. And I've just always had a ton of respect for what you do. And so a lot of people hit me up right when I started up and said, you got to do a show with Damon, because we've never had you guys, like you just said, in the same room. And you've always been cool to me. It's always been really cool. And I really enjoy you letting me hanging out at your channel. It's been a really fun time, as I've had this whole time going on to this, to have these kind of forums and just free form. Like you said, dude, what time we got? 8:31. We'd have broke like 50 times by now, right?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. Flow on everything. So no, it's just I always enjoyed it. And from day one that I started this, I'm not kidding you, 7 out of 10 things that said you should collaborate with this person were you.
Well, I really, really appreciate that. And look, the respect of the careers is a door that's always swung both ways. I mean, I remember you would sometimes make me laugh. I'd get off at 280. I'd be down by the ballpark. I'm coming around in Barcadero. You're in the Caboose Pistol segment. I switched over from Steiny and Guru to hear how you and Greg were wrapping up the show. And more often than not, you would fucking make me laugh. You'd say something. I'd have to text you. I'd be like, Jesus, John. You know what it was? You were talking about your apprehensions on nude beaches.
Oh, I went to a nude beach unexpectedly one time. I didn't.
You did the funniest segment on the confidence it takes to be on a nude beach, and you didn't have it. And it was just so hysterical. And I immediately tagged you. I was like, dude, you just had me cracking up in my car. And I've always loved the work that you've done, man. It was great to be a teammate of yours. And guess what? We're teammates again. How about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make sure that we're doing it often, because like I said, a lot of people loved it. I had a great time tonight hanging out. And like you said, it's fun because you just let it all hang out, and it's cool, man. It's cool.
God, great to see you, brother.
Not everybody's like that, and it's really cool. So thanks, man. Appreciate you having me.
It's Chinatown. It's Chinatown, Johnny.
Love it, man. Hey,
Thank
thanks
you
for
very
listening.
much.
Everyone was very nice to me tonight. We're very much appreciated. Just real quick, at John Lund Unleashed and then at John Lund Radio. You can find me if you can't find my channel. So, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate hanging with you, dude.
John Lund Unleashed. Go subscribe right now. And John, we release you. You now are free to move about the cabin. Thank you very, very much to John Lund. Again, who would ever come on and, hey, I'd like to have you as a guest on my show tonight. How long would you like to be on? Infinity? Would you be interested in joining me for Infinity Minutes? John just signed up for Infinity Minutes. We just had a great time with John Lund. We got to hang out for several hours, and I really appreciate him coming on by. Let's dive back into an awful lot of generous super chats. This is Nando Lamas, who says the 49ers need a grown man at quarterback. Jalen Milroe. I mean, come on, he lost at Vanderbilt, dude. Or bring back Sam Darnold. There's always going to be a ceiling with noodle-armed Brock Purdy. Again, I know it's easy to bag on Brock, but your noodle-armed Brock Purdy, I feel like I need to share this with you because, I don't know if this maintains after tonight's disappointment, but Brock Purdy, for a guy with a noodle arm, he leads the NFL in yards per attempt this season coming into this game, and he led the NFL in yards per attempt last season. Now, everyone wanted to tell me that last season, the only reason why he led the league in yards per attempt was because all that talent gave him all those yak yards after they caught the ball. Well, this year, nobody's given him yak yards, and yet here he is still leading the league. Not bad for a dink and dunk noodle arm guy who needs yak yards, right? In a year where Kyle's offense has been subpar, where his protection has been subpar, where his playmakers have been subpar or injured all year long, Brock still leads the league in yards per attempt. How are you going to noodle arm that guy? Again, no one's going to want to defend Brock after a night where he threw a terrible interception in a situation that didn't call for him to be gambling like he was gambling. But shit, he's not as bad as you think he is. And he's about to be paid $55 to $60 million to be the Niners quarterback going forward. So you better get the fuck on board because he's not going anywhere. Damon and John, thanks for the live stream. Danny, thank you very, very much. Appreciate you. Mike Partridge, the Bears game was fool gold. Yeah, looking back at it right now, it sure feels that way. Purdy in the postgame will say he needs to play better and then doesn't. Really getting frustrating. I've always been high on Brock. Look, he played really well last week. He would have played a lot better this week had Deebo Samuel not been an absolute disaster in this game, as he's been a disaster all year. How many quarterbacks can be as good as they are when you subtract a 21 touchdown running back? The only dude on your team who knows where the end zone is your tight end. You've got one wide receiver that sucks. You drafted another wide receiver that sucks. And your other wide receiver that you just paid huge because you hoped he didn't suck tears his ACL and he's not there all year. This team is basically throwing the ball to George Kittle, who is long in the tooth now in his career, and Juwan Jennings, who is making $9 million and is one of the best values in all of football. It has not gone according to plan. Brad says, Damon, I love listening to you from Iowa. This is on Kyle, Brock, and Debo. Debo drops a gimme touchdown. Brock throws it all over the place. Kyle is calling. His play calling starts by giving his buddy a throw. Come on. Horrible game plan. And I would agree with you there. It was bad tonight for sure. Craig's Kitchen. Both Aya. Who's going to advance in this division? I think it's going to be Rams or Cardinals. I think the Niners are going to go from, hey, they got to win out to probably now losing out. I wouldn't be surprised to see them lose in Miami. I wouldn't be surprised to see them lose to Detroit. And then on the road in week 18 at Arizona could be the game that Arizona needs to reach the playoffs. I mean, or the only thing that the 49ers really are going to have left as a goal in any game this season is, can you play playoff spoiler for the Cardinals and send the Seahawks or the Rams to the postseason? The Rodfather, 1978. Kyle gotta eat his cereal off a plate because he lost all of his bowls. Bravo. I mean, how did I not think of that? That's fantastic. The Rod father. He's lost his bowls. Devondre Campbell walked off the field in the third quarter. He told coaches he didn't want to play no more. Wait, no. Did he? Did Devondre Campbell see Dre Greenlaw, realize what a real linebacker looks like, says, I don't have that in me, and walked? I don't know anything about that yet. I'll take your word for it. Rodman Sanchez says, if you had to let go of one, which is it? Kyle Shanahan or Brock Purdy? Good question. I really think that if you keep one, you have to keep the other. I think the two of them work well together for the most part. I think Kyle might be a little bit better of a coach than Purdy as a quarterback. Because Kyle got production out of, for a minute there, Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard and Jimmy Garoppolo and Brandon Allen in a very short sample size, maybe Josh Dobbs. I don't know. I still think Kyle's a good coach. I know that there's no reason to say that out loud with your chest tonight or this year, but I still think Kyle's pretty damn good at what he does. And I actually think Brock is pretty good at what he does. But you asked me to choose between one or two. I think I would go that way. This is James Jones. James, good to see you as always, brother. Kyle and John are on a package deal, and he's been good for us. The last draft might be the best one they've had in the first year without Peters gone. Maybe that's the coincidence. Maybe it was Adam Peters holding this team back. I really don't know. When Greenlaw came out, D. Campbell refused to play. Okay, so if that's true, you got to cut that motherfucker tonight. If Devondre Campbell threw a temper tantrum, said, I'm intimidated by Dre Greenlaw's presence, cut his ass tonight, if that's true. If that's true, that's one of the biggest bitch moves you'll ever see on a football field. Come on. Fuji Simeon says, well, time to focus on the Warriors and then the Giants. It's not like the Warriors are ripping your heart out with bad losses. Oh, sorry, that was last night. But hey, Willie Adamas. Huh? Final super chat comes from Dimitri, who just throws $2 in the ganja jar, and I thank you very, very much, Dimitri. I thank John Lund very, very much for coming on out and hanging out all night with me. That was an awful lot of fun. That was fantastic. And Lund and I finally get to do a show together. How about that? Lund and I have never done an actual show together before this evening. That was an awful lot of fun. Thanks so much to John Lund for coming on through. Thanks to all of you for coming on through tonight. Whether you watched a little, you dipped in and out tonight, or you've been here for the entire broadcast, thank you so very much for stopping on by. If you would hit subscribe, you don't even have to hit the like anymore. Hit that subscribe button for me. Let's get this thing cooking. And hopefully next year, in a better year, we will do more watch parties. We'll be back probably next weekend for the Miami watch party, only because we are we're suckers for it. Devondre Campbell didn't play a snap tonight. This is him walking off the field with his helmet in his hand in his fourth quarter. Is Kyle now talking about it? Here's what he had to say. I'm hearing Kyle. What is he saying that happened? Hold on, let me listen to this a little bit. He said he didn't want to play today. Oh, well, you cut that motherfucker tonight then. You don't want to play today, you don't play at all. That's a gots to go situation. That's a gots to go situation. By the way, Nathan Hyatt, last person coming on in. 80 super chats tonight. We were hoping for 50. We got 80. Thank you so very much. Again, hit like, hit subscribe, if you would, please. The likes aren't helping at this point. The show's over. But if you hit subscribe, that means you'll be back. If you hit notify, it means you won't miss when we go live. And I'd really, really appreciate that. And one more time, let me just tell you about my good friends at the Dubliner. You're going to need a beer or a drink if you're a 49er fan before the season is over. You probably already had a few. Go get your next one at the Dubliner West Portal. Kenny and John pulling the best Guinness in the city, one of the best bars in the city. Muni drops you off right out front. What more do you need? My man Ike, He's got what you need in terms of the best sandwich you're ever going to have. If you don't live on the West Coast, if you've never been to an Ike's, I have compassion for you. I really do. I hope you get an Ike's in your life soon. And if you do have an Ike's in your life, sign up for that Ike Love Rewards app. You get a free sandwich when you sign up. You get chips and drinks and chances to win chips and drinks with every purchase. And right now, you can be ordered. He just opened up a store in New Orleans, a shop in New Orleans, which means a trip to New Orleans is there to be had from my man Ike's. If you sign up from the Ike's Rewards app, and you could be at a very large football game at the Superdome, I can tell you right now, the 49ers will not be in that game at the Superdome. And to our friends at BetUS, I lost $100 on the Niners. I'm done betting them for the year now. Screw you, 49ers. I think you owe me money for some gambling debts because I didn't know that Fred Warner had a broken ankle for several weeks there because you didn't tell anyone. You sketchy motherfuckers, you. But when you do decide to throw a little bit money down, I hope you do it over on BetUS. It's where the game begins. It's an offshore account. So if you're in California, you can still use promo code YouTube150 and get 150% off your sign-up bonus up to $2,000 when you do sign up. And that is it for us. Larry Krueger and yours truly will be returning at 9 a.m. Friday morning for Wake Up. I hope you plan on joining us. In the meantime, that was bad. That was epically bad, Kyle Shanahan. Dan says, give me my money back. Dan, I'm sorry. I will refund you any and all super chats that you made. Thank you very, very much. This is Brad saying, Damon, great to chat with you for the first time. Your live game watch parties are sweet. Heading out for the Lions game, not looking too good. Love watching you, brother. Well, thank you very, very much. If you're coming out from another part of the country or another part of California when you are out for that Lions game, get to Sam's Chowder House. Like Larry and I tell you every morning on Wake Up, you'll be happy that you did. Eat at Ike's if you finally get an opportunity to do that. And Brad, when you do come to the Bay Area, I hope you have a wonderful time. Thank you very much. You should probably stay away from Levi's Stadium. I don't know how much fun you're going to have there against the Detroit Lions. Love you. Right back, Dan. Thank you very, very much. Again, Devondre Campbell, you got to get your bitch ass out of town. I never want to see you wear a 49er uniform again. They should cut his ass tonight. He's got to be sent fucking packing. Somebody has got to be held accountable for some bitch ass decisions like, I'm tired. I don't want to play. I don't feel like playing tonight, coach. Beat it. The Damon Bruce sandwich is delicious. You are right about that, Dan. You're right about that. The Damon Bruce sandwich. Again, I can prove how delicious I am. Just look at me. Don't I look delicious to you? Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Dan. And we will wrap up with an OG radio pro herself, Kim Schaefer. One last bottle pull. Just, Kim, put me in your mouth. See, this is why Kim and I have gotten along for years. There you go. One last one. By the way, this was up here today. We've been celebrating birthdays. We've been hanging out with John Lund. It's a pretty good show. Pretty good show. Kim just knocked down a free throw with that one. Hell yeah, she did. Kim's dunking from the baseline. She's not knocking down free throws. Michters. You see that? Hell yeah, it was Michters. Thank you also very, very much for watching. Really do appreciate it. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.
Honey.